Chapter 225. Are you crazy? Lu Qing was stunned. The corner of his mouth twitched and he couldn't help but laugh and curse. His head was full of fog. Is this the so-called generation gap? He felt that he couldn't understand what a little girl like Fei was thinking. He shook his head and put the matter behind him. He went into the bathroom and finished washing up. Back in the living room, he turned off the light and lay on the sofa. He covered himself with a thin quilt and picked up his phone out of habit. He entered the chat mode with xianxia and felt peaceful and happy, like the moonlight shining in through the window. Poor me, sleeping in the living room on my first day back home. Lu Qing used the pitiful emoji that his girlfriend liked. One is marked by one's company. Hee, I'm rolling on the big bed that I haven't seen for a long time. Xianxia replied with a snickering emoji. Lu Qing threw the table emoji and said, You don't even comfort me. Okay, I'll give you a hug and let you sleep on the bed next time. Xianxia liked to call herself sister in front of Lu Qing, although in fact she was almost a year younger. Sleep on the bed? Do you have a sister with you? Lu Qing took advantage of the opportunity and teased her with a smirk. Xianxia sent a scolding emoji and said, Bah, I won't sleep with a big pervert. And just now you provoked me with the picture of roasted eggplant. Isn't this to tempt you? To tempt you to eat with me one day. Lu Qing replied with a smile. Xianxia sent an emoji rubbing its chin and rolling its eyes and said, What if I want to eat now? I'll go and roast one and send it to you? Lu Qing tried to suggest. Forget it, Empress Dowager and my dad are both at home. Wouldn't you be sending a lamb to the tiger's mouth? Besides, it's already 10 o'clock, you should go to bed. You have to get up early tomorrow to train and enter the dance stage as soon as possible. This is the most important thing, understand? Xianxia lay on the belly of the big hairy bear and couldn't stop smiling. Understood. Rest assured, Coach Yin. Lu Qing replied half-jokingly and half-seriously. Before he reached the peak of body refining, his brother-in-law had already entered the dance stage and got the certificate of professional 8th pin. Not to mention Peng Leiyun, the big devil, there was still a target in front of him to catch up with. Qing, speaking of morning training, I have a piece of good news and a piece of bad news. Which one do you want to hear first? Xianxia sent him an emoji of sitting blankly. Bad news? We can't train together tomorrow? Lu Qing asked sharply. Xianxia replied, Yes, and not only tomorrow. Empress Dowager said that she has put weight on and wants to train. She wants me to train with her mother and daughter. We can train together. Not only that, but he also had to hold back his disappointment and comfort the girl. Empress Dowager is so busy. She won't be able to hold on for long. Besides, she and your dad have to go to work. You're not a child anymore. You can't be locked up at home. We have plenty of time to date. Qing, I thought you would be disappointed. Xianxia sat up straight and nodded. Qing, I thought you would be disappointed. Of course I am. I feel that the beautiful morning I have been looking forward to is not beautiful. But it can't be helped. She is your mother after all. Lu Qing replied honestly. Then he added, You should eat less breakfast tomorrow. Xianxia's dimples appeared and her eyes were gentle because of his previous words. She suddenly saw this strange sentence and asked, Why? It's a secret. Lu Qing would not tell her that he wanted to send her breakfast, the zongzi she had been dreaming about for a long time. Secret? You want me to eat less breakfast, so you want to send me something to eat, right? What kind of breakfast do I want to eat in Xiaoshan? Xianxia sent a there is only one truth emoji. Well, you want to send me that zongzi? Lu Qing replied, You are so smart. You guessed it so quickly. Where is the promised surprise? Hey, I am a famous detective. Xianxia, who was wearing a white nightgown, held her phone and rolled on the bed. Her mouth was slightly closed and her eyes were slightly curved. Her smile was very obvious. She only felt that this smart compliment made her so happy. It was even better than the surprise of sending a zongzi for breakfast. This was not only the reflection of the reasoning ability, but also the understanding and tacit understanding between the two parties. After laughing for more than 10 seconds, she said, But my dad is going to make breakfast for me tomorrow. I haven't tasted his cooking for almost a year. I have to go to my grandpa's house tomorrow night and accompany my grandpa the day after tomorrow. So I can only do it the day after tomorrow? As she spoke, she felt a little guilty and wanted to make up for it. Okay, then the day after tomorrow morning. Lu Qing exhaled. Sure enough, he could not be with Ku every day. Xianxia replied, I will come to see you when I am free. I can also go to see you. Lu Qing adjusted his mood and said with a snicker, By the way, what is the good news? Good news? Xianxia chuckled and leaned on the pillow. She rolled her eyes and a faint blush appeared on her cheeks. She bit her lower lip with her pearly white teeth and slowly typed on the keyboard on the screen. The good news is, Cheng, I am starting to miss you. Lu Cheng's heart was hit and became unusually soft. He smiled faintly and replied, I'm sorry. I miss our cuckoo too. At this moment he only felt that the moonlight was peaceful and the night was gentle. Time flew by and it was already 10:30 p.m. Lu Cheng said goodnight to xianxia and posted the picture he had taken at the barbecue on Weibo, along with the caption, First meal back in Xiaoshan. He did not like to do these things. He only updated once every 10 days or half a month. After posting he logged out of QQ and put his phone aside. He enjoyed the peace of the night and the affection shown by xianxia just now and fell asleep contentedly. The next morning he woke up naturally and quietly finished washing up. After changing into the navy blue martial arts suit, he unlocked his phone screen and logged into QQ again. He sent a message to xianxia with a laughing emoji, the handsome one is up. The beautiful one is sitting on the bed. Xianxia replied with an emoji with circles in its eyes. After chatting for a while, xianxia struggled to get out of bed. Lu Cheng glanced at the replies he had received yesterday. Fatty Jiang was the first one. Cheng, you are not at home on your first day back in Xiaoshan? Or are you not at home again? Hehe, I am on the train today and will arrive in the evening. Remember to treat me to dinner. A man with a girlfriend must treat to a big meal. Lu Cheng was about to reply to him and say something like, a fat man shouldn't think about a big meal. But he saw other replies from the corner of his eyes. Cheng Chili replied with a shocked emoji, what? Cheng, you have a girlfriend? Qin Rue replied with a shocked emoji, Cheng, when did you have a girlfriend? Is she your college classmate? Chiu Hailin replied with a laughing emoji, I didn't expect you to solve the problem of being single in your first year in college. Chao Lele, who was sitting at the same table, replied with a smile, I didn't expect it either. This is not the Lu Cheng I know. When will you show us what your girlfriend looks like? Damn brother Lu, a barking dog doesn't bite, right? I'm still single. Tao Xiaofei jeered behind them. Lu Cheng was in a daze. There was only one thought echoing in his mind. Damn it, Fatty Jiang is such a big mouth. After a round of training, Lu Cheng consolidated the realm of the peak of body refining. He recalled the conversation with his master before leaving school. The meaning of withdraw must be understood through the process of integrating the strength of the whole body into one. Otherwise it will be a rootless tree without a source of water. This is why you can't practice it in advance until you reach the peak of body refining. Geezer sure said as he drank a mouthful of wine happily. Lu Cheng was surprised and blurted out, Master, you use the words so well, so cultured. Geezer sure smiled proudly and said, that's what my master told me. Hey little brat, can't you grasp the key point? Don't think that the dance stage is easy just because you've mastered meditation and can look inward. After all, this is the first threshold on the road of martial arts. I won't say more. I'll just give you 10 words. Human body Big Dan, round and bright. Next, you have to figure it out by yourself. If you can't figure it out, you can ask me again. That's it? Lu Cheng felt like he had a fake master. What else do you want? Everyone has their own characteristics and personality. It's not good to rely on your master to pull you along, unless you plan to never surpass your master for the rest of your life. Besides, don't you want to mix in the things of cultivation? I can't teach you everything. From now on, you have to learn to figure it out by yourself. Geezer sure said seriously, anyway, you can call me if you have any questions. But don't expect me to explain everything to you. Yes, master. Lu Cheng nodded thoughtfully. A breeze blew. The morning at the end of June was not hot, but Lu Cheng just did the same training as before. He didn't add anything new because he hadn't bought the herbs to make the decoction. He hadn't tried to unify the strength of his whole body. When he finished training and returned home, he had breakfast. Ignoring Qi Yunfei, who slept until noon, he took the decoction list from his master and went straight to the best pharmacy in the city, Jishan Hall. Outside Jishan Hall, Lu Cheng was about to enter when he heard his phone ring. He took it out and saw that it was Qin Rue, so he chose to answer. Hello Cheng. My master is very happy to hear that you want to work part-time. Qin Rue came straight to the point. He said there are 2 ways to work part-time and you can choose. Well, go ahead. Lu Cheng said happily. Qin Rue considered his tone and said, the first way is to advertise under your name and let you be the head instructor of the martial arts school for 2 months. You won't be paid, but you'll get 30% of the total profit from the summer school. Cheng, to tell you the truth, I'm shocked. I've never seen my master so generous before. You know, we usually have 20 summer school. After deducting the salary, utilities, equipment depreciation and venue wear and tear, the profit for 2 months is at least 1 million. More than 1 million? 30% means at least 300,000? It was the first time that Lu Qing had seen such a large amount of money. He was a little confused and moved. 300,000, this is 300,000. It's enough to buy a house in Xiangshan, where the average price is 3,500 per square meter. Is there really such a good thing? Lu Qing resisted the urge to agree and steadied his breathing. What's the second way? The second way, we won't advertise under your name. You'll lead a VIP class, the kind that my master is nominally leading. The tuition fee for 2 months is 5,088. There are 10 people in total. Their tuition fees will all be yours. As for equipment and venue, it doesn't matter. If you see anything wrong with our training, just give us a few pointers. Qin Rui said dutifully. Besides, there's an individual coaching fee. You can earn it with your own ability. Whatever you can earn is yours. What's an individual coaching fee? Lu Qing asked, not quite understanding. Think about it. Not including the VIP class, the other classes are at least 30 to 50. How can one coach teach them all? He can only teach and watch them as a whole, supervise them to train and correct them from time to time. For some students, this is not enough. They want to have a one-on-one coaching and correction. That way the effect will be much better. But this requires additional money. For people like me, it's 300 per hour. Qin Rui said with a smile. As for you, we'll decide later. To be honest, I want to ask you to coach me for a few hours. Haha, you're free. Lu Qing replied with a smile. Qin Rui continued, this kind of coaching fee, we have to share it with the martial arts school. You don't have to. The latter was obviously not as good as the former. After all, it was a small class of 10. One-on-one coaching was not very meaningful. Lu Qing was very tempted by the bonus, but he was very clear that it was a bit too much for a professional 9th pin fighter. If there's something abnormal, there must be something wrong. I can't be blinded by greed. I'd better ask my master. The older the ginger, the wiser. Thinking of this, Lu Qing smiled and said, Qin Rui, I'll think about it and give you an answer. Okay, I'll wait for your call. Qin Rui answered quickly. Chapter 226. Lu Qing took a deep breath and shook his head, trying to calm himself down in the face of the temptation of money. After a few seconds, he found his master's phone number and dialed it. After a cheerful melody, Geezer Shur's coughing voice penetrated the receiver. Hey brat, cough, you encountered a problem so soon? Master, no, it's not a problem with martial arts. It's something else. Lu Qing explained first. Then tell me what's the matter. Did you kill someone again? Geezer Shur asked casually. Well, in your eyes, am I a homicidal maniac? Lu Qing complained in his heart. He briefly explained his idea of making money by part-time jobs and the 2 choices of Gushin Martial Arts School. In the end, he asked, Master, which one do you think I should choose? According to your heart, you want to choose the first one, right? With hundreds of thousands of yuan there, how can a student like you not be tempted? Geezer Shur laughed. Lu Qing sighed and answered, I'm tempted, but I feel a little guilty and a little scared. I'm not worth that much money. A normal part-time job of professional 9th pin is only worth about 10,000 yuan a month. Even if it's a scarce resource in Xiangshan, it's a bit exaggerated to double that amount, not to mention hundreds of thousands for 2 months. There's no such thing as a free lunch. The greater the profit, the greater the risk. At least you're sober. Geezer Shur laughed. First, anyone with a discerning eye can see that your overall strength is considered to be in the small group in the body refining stage. Besides, you're still young and haven't practiced martial arts for a long time. You have a lot of potential, so you can't be treated as a normal 9th pin fighter. Of course, your salary and treatment will be different. Second, cough cough, that martial arts school's first choice is called binding. In the martial arts circle, as long as you agree to let them use your signboard, you have to bear the corresponding responsibility. If you're the kind of person who doesn't want to admit it, it's okay to take hundreds of thousands of yuan. But you're not. You dared to fight to death for an old friend. What's more, you're soft-hearted when you take advantage of others. Cough, when they meet a strong martial arts school, will you help them? If they get into trouble and ask you for help, will you help them? Are you going to hold them accountable for using your name to bully others? Humans, especially those in the martial world, live for their reputation. It's not that you can't do this kind of thing. Famous martial artists more or less have a similar income. Cough cough. But you have to polish your eyes and see clearly the other party's background and character before you make a decision. Otherwise, you might be dragged into the water one day and still not know what's going on. Now ask yourself, are you willing to live and die with that dojo for a few 100,000? Of course this is an exaggeration. Just understand what this old man means. Lu Qing asked himself silently. He thought for a while and said, I understand, master. I know what to choose. The bigger the shoulders, the bigger the burden. Okay, I'll remind you again. Earning money is important, but the focus should still be on practicing martial arts. Once you improve your strength, you'll have plenty of opportunities to earn big bucks in the future. Geezer sure reminded him and hung up the phone. Lu Qing calmed down for a few minutes. He didn't answer Qin Rui directly. Instead, he found Xianxia's phone number and dialed her. Xianxia sat at the table, drinking porridge cooked by her father and eating the refreshing dishes made at home. She chatted with Empress Dowager and others from time to time. She was very happy. At this moment, the phone beside her buzzed and vibrated continuously. She looked at it from the corner of her eyes and subconsciously smiled. Her eyebrows became more relaxed. She was a little happy but also a little nervous and worried. I need to answer a call, she explained in a sweet voice. She picked up the phone and walked quickly to the living room. She answered the call and walked up the stairs. Hello, what's the matter? Xianxia tried to make her voice calm and rigid. Ji Mingyu looked at her daughter's back and sighed inwardly as she recalled her daughter's unconsciously gentle eyes and uncontrollable smile. Silly girl, who can you fool with this look? While thinking, she glanced at her husband who didn't realize it and couldn't help but spit. Only the rough men would be able to fool them. Humph, your little princess is about to be taken away, and you don't even realize it. Lu Qing sensed something wrong in Xianxia's tone, so he smiled and said, Are your parents here? Xianxia went upstairs like a whirlwind and entered her room. She leaned against the door and said with a smile, No, they are not here. That's good. I have something to ask Coach Yen. Lu Qing walked a few steps to the side so that he wouldn't block the door of Jishan Hall. Xianxia's sweet dimples appeared. She said with a smile, Go ahead. I'll give you some advice. Judging from Cheng's tone, it shouldn't be a bad thing. Ku, didn't I say that I wanted to work part-time in the martial arts club? I asked Qin Rui for help. His master welcomes me very much. Lu Qing told the whole thing to his girlfriend. Xianxia listened attentively with a smile on her face. She liked Lu Qing's habit of discussing with her in advance. It made her feel a deep sense of participation and companionship. She also knew that Lu Qing was not a person without his own opinion. On the contrary, he was very decisive at critical moments and could be relied on. I think Coach sure is right. Qing, you don't have to be so involved with the martial arts club in Xiaoshan. Xianxia chose her words carefully. I heard from Uncle Xing and my mother that martial arts clubs in small places like Xiaoshan are more or less related to the underworld. It's easy for you to get involved with them. My father likes to read some ancient books. His favorite saying is that there are some things to do and some things not to do. Lu Qing originally wanted to find out the background of Gushin Martial Arts Club through Xianxia. After hearing her words, he became more determined and no longer hesitated. Well, I'll listen to Coach Yen and choose the second option. My father-in-law seems to be very meaningful. Well, this is different from praising my master. Xianxia chuckled and was very satisfied. She asked, Did you buy the herbs? In front of the pharmacy. Lu Qing laughed. Which pharmacy? Xianxia rolled her eyes and asked with a smile. Jishan Pharmacy. It's said to be the best pharmacy in Xiaoshan. The ingredients are all authentic. Lu Qing was happy to chat with his girlfriend. Xianxia pursed her lips and smiled. I can guarantee that. Don't you think it sounds familiar? Why does it sound familiar? Lu Qing was confused. Xianxia snorted. Have you forgotten? Empress Dowager's surname is Ji. I only know that Empress Dowager is called Empress Dowager. Lu Qing joked. What a coincidence. I can't believe I'm in a pharmacy under Empress Dowager's name. Xianxia was afraid that Lu Qing would feel inferior, so she quickly explained, My father is a poor doctor. When Empress Dowager came to Xiaoshan, she had nothing to do, so she worked part-time as a private trainer and tried to start a business. After a long time of hard work, the company grew up little by little. When I was young, I lived in the family compound. It was much more lively than it is now. I met uncles and aunties on the street and everyone wanted to pinch my face. Haha, it's like my neighborhood. Lu Qing had expected his girlfriend's family background. He didn't care about it now and smiled. I thought you were sick when you were young. You didn't have any fat on your face. I still have some baby fat. Xianxia answered shyly. She felt that her boyfriend didn't have any grudges and was still confident. When a couple in love started chatting, they could talk nonsense for a long time. When Ji Mingyu urged Xianxia to leave, she reluctantly said goodbye to Lu Qing. She spent the morning with her parents and the afternoon with her grandfather in Jianghu County, which was part of Xiaoshan. Lu Qing held the hot phone and called Qin Rui back without hesitation. "Qing, have you made up your mind?" Qin Rui asked happily. His classmate worked part-time in the martial arts club as a powerful professional ninth pin fighter, which made him look good in front of his seniors and juniors. "Yeah, I just called my master. He said that I haven't finished my apprenticeship yet, so I can't make my own name and carry my own signboard. You know, in the martial arts circle we have to respect our masters." Lu Qing pushed all the responsibility to his master. After saying this he felt a little lost. 300,000 yuan. His dad worked hard for most of his life and didn't even save that much money. Forget it. In life there are things to do and things not to do. Got it. Qin Rui agreed. "So you chose the VIP class? I'll tell my master now." "Hey Qing, you're so strong but you still haven't finished your apprenticeship? Your master is so strict. You have to reach the dance stage to finish your apprenticeship?" Thinking back, one could imagine how awesome Lu Qing's master was. "Probably." Lu Qing answered blankly. He didn't know when he would finish his apprenticeship. Dance stage? High-rank dance stage? Or even physical invulnerability? After waiting for a few minutes, Qin Rui called back and said with a smile, "My master said no problem. When are you free today? Can you come over and finalize this matter?" "Okay, I'll come over in an hour." Lu Qing exhaled, relieved that the matter had been settled. He hung up the phone and entered the Jishan Hall. According to the weight of the 7 posts, he bought bags of herbs and spent more than 1,700 yuan. 1 week's worth of herbs will cost more than 1,700 yuan. In 2 months it'll be 15,000. Lu Qing did a rough calculation and was tongue-tied. He felt that the cost of breaking through to the dance stage was not small. And this was under the premise that he could train his whole body's strength to be as one in 2 months. No wonder Ku always asked him to save the money, because he wanted to keep the formula a secret. He didn't choose to ask the pharmacy to brew it for him. Carrying the bag, he went home first and then went straight to the Gushan martial arts school. When he arrived at his destination, he paid the taxi fare but didn't rush in. Instead, he tidied up his clothes and flicked the dust and hair. After today he would go in and out as a coach. He had to pay attention to his image. Chapter 227. The Gushan martial arts school was located near the new business district of Xiaoshan. It had a quiet and elegant environment, and it had an old 3-story building. Lu Qing tidied up his appearance, walked through the trees and opened the door. He found Qin Rui waiting for him at the front desk. "You're early." He greeted him happily. Lu Qing patted his arm and joked, "I'm not familiar with Xiaoshan. I can't even estimate the time of the bus ride." Xiaoshan changes every half a year. Everywhere is being renovated." Qin Rui replied and led Lu Qing inside. After entering, Lu Qing found that the Gushan martial arts school was really big. The training ground on the first floor was several times bigger than the Hongluo martial arts school he had been to before. It was cleverly designed and divided into 7 or 8 areas. Some areas were noisy and crowded, while others only had 11 or 12 people practicing martial arts seriously. Noticing Lu Qing's gaze, Qin Rui introduced with a smile, "Isn't it big? My master always says that this place is his proudest and most regrettable place." "Proudest and most regrettable place?" Lu Qing asked. Qin Rui pointed at the training ground and said, "This used to be the workers' club of the 3-machine factory. It was sold during hard times and was bought by my master who was looking for a place to open a martial arts school. That was many years ago and there was no concept of housing prices. But my master spent most of his savings to buy the equipment. He really borrowed a lot of money. But now look at the surrounding housing prices. They have increased by more than 10 times. It's the most valuable and best asset of our martial arts school." "So that's what he's proud of?" Lu Qing couldn't help laughing. He didn't think about it at all. Who would have thought that the proudest thing of a martial arts school was real estate investment? He asked curiously, "Then why is it the most regrettable place?" Qin Rui couldn't help but laugh. "At that time my master was still young and full of ambition. He wondered if he should leave Xiaoshan and open a martial arts club in Gaofun. Later, when he had the opportunity to buy such a big house, he gave it up. A professional 9th pin martial arts club could only make a splash in Gaofun. He would be suppressed by others even if he raised his head. It was better for him to stay in Xiaoshan and be a local tyrant. Now, thinking about the housing prices in Gaofun, my master talks about it every day and every month. Not to mention buying a house in Gaofun, a decent martial arts school is enough. Even the demolition alone is enough to make him not to worry for the rest of his life." Why is it always about the appreciation of the house? Is this something that a martial arts school should pay attention to? Lu Qing couldn't help but laugh. After turning a corner and walking a few steps, Qin Rui led him up the stairs and all the way to the third floor. The lighting here was rather dim with long corridors and doors. Qin Rui didn't explain much. He looked a little nervous and solemn. He strode to the innermost part of the room and knocked on the door gently and rhythmically. Knock knock knock. Knock knock knock. After 2 knocks, a slightly hoarse voice came from the inside. Come in. Qin Rui unlocked the door and pushed it in, allowing Lu Qing to see the scene inside. The window was big and the sun was shining brightly. The table and chairs were carved from mahogany. Steam was rising from the tea set. Chu Weikai, with his deep wrinkles and sharp eyes, had already stood up and welcomed Lu Qing with a chuckle. Seeing you in person is better than hearing about you. Young friend, you are full of spirit and vigor. You really brighten my eyes. Qin Rui and Lin Feng have been praising you in front of this old man. I didn't believe them at first, but they showed me the videos of your recent matches. Wow, a young hero. Xiaoshan has never had a mighty one in the physical invulnerability stage in its history. Maybe you can make up for it. He spoke like an old-fashioned jianghu man. Lu Qing had originally thought that he could handle such situations calmly. However, after being praised by such an experienced jianghu veteran, he suddenly felt a little helpless and did not know how to respond. He could only say modestly, "You're too kind." After exchanging a few pleasantries, Chu Wei let Lu Qing sit in the guest seat. He poured himself a cup of kung fu tea and said with a smile, Qin Rui has already conveyed your intentions. This old man can understand your master's mentality very well. If these unworthy disciples of mine go out, I will definitely warn them again and again to not let them use the signboard recklessly before they achieve anything. Qin Rui and Dai Linfeng didn't sit down. Instead they stood on either side of Chu Weikai. It was obvious that the master-disciple relationship in Gushin martial arts school was more old-fashioned and solemn, unlike Lu Qing, who often joked with Geezer Shi and sometimes even made fun of him. Of course, the main reason for this was that Geezer Shi himself was not serious. Without waiting for Lu Qing to answer, Chu Weikai picked up the Yixing clay teapot and poured him a cup of fragrant tea. Try it. This is the Mongolian wild mountain tea that I asked someone to bring back. It's not worse than Ningshui's Maojin green tea. The water was light yellow and moist. Lu Qing took a sip and felt a strong bitterness. Following that, the taste buds on his tongue seemed to have come alive, throbbing with layers of sweetness. The aftertaste was endless. Good tea. He didn't know anything about tea, so he could only give a superficial compliment. Chu Weikai smiled reservedly and said, There are now 3 VIP classes. I'm old, so I usually just look around and give a few pointers. Most of the time Lin Feng is in charge. There are 2 classes that come every holiday, and Lin Feng is more familiar with them. I'm afraid they won't be able to adapt to a sudden change of coach. I can only give the remaining class to you first, and then we'll recruit another one. This class is every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. Are you okay with it? No. Lu Qing thought for a while and added, What if I have something to do at the last minute? Find someone to fill in for you or change classes. Chu Weikai waved his hand and asked Dai Linfeng to take 4 sheets of white paper from the desk. I know it's your first time as a part-time coach. I was worried that you would be worried, so I specially asked Linfeng to make a contract. Words are not proof, so it's just black and white. Look, the contract is very simple. They didn't ask a lawyer to make it. They made it so fancy that even an old man like me can't understand it. The 4 sheets of white paper meant that there were 2 copies of each one, but there were only 2 copies of the real contract. There were about 7 or 8 clauses, mainly stipulating a few things. First, the payment method. Before starting the part-time job, Lu Qing would be paid 10,000 yuan, 20,000 yuan at the end of July, and the rest would be paid on the day of the summer break. Second, there would be no commission for individual coaching fees. Third, Lu Qing would be responsible for any problems caused by physical punishment. Lu Qing looked carefully. After confirming that there was nothing ambiguous, he smiled and said, I have no problem with it. Okay, let's just sign it. Chu Weikai asked Dai Linfeng to bring him a fountain pen and said self-deprecatingly, At my age, a fountain pen is more comfortable. I'm not used to you young people's signature pens and ballpoint pens. After a few swipes, the 2 finished signing and kept 1 copy each. Lu Qing wrote down his card number on another sheet of paper. Welcome to our martial arts club. When you become famous, we'll be proud of you too. Chu Weikai shook Lu Qing's hands and formally expressed his welcome. In the end, he reminded him, Those kids are here to strengthen their bodies and learn some self-defense moves. Don't be too strict. Let them rest when they need to, in case something bad happens to them. Okay. Lu Qing agreed happily. He wasn't an inexperienced person. During the martial arts lessons, the special training members would often help the lazy geezer to teach them in groups. Most of the students who joined the martial arts club only wanted to strengthen their bodies and learn some self-defense moves. Come directly on Monday. Chu Weikai turned to look at his disciple. Qin Rui, show Lu Qing around and familiarize him with the place. Yes, master. Qin Rui exhaled and looked at ease. After the two left and the door closed, Dai Linfeng frowned slightly and said, Master, there's no need to be so attentive. He obviously wants to keep a distance from us. Chu Weikai laughed and said, You're still too young. The most important thing for a person to succeed is to learn how to read people. You know who to keep a distance from, who to befriend, and who to befriend. So I only understood this after I turned 40. Otherwise, how could I be trapped in Xiaoshan? The third floor is our lounge, locker room, office, and strength training gymnasium for inner disciples. The second floor has 2 practice fields and 3 large strength training gymnasiums. When it's usually empty, we'll use a part of it as a gym. When summer classes start, we'll have to rotate according to time. But you don't have to worry about the VIP class. You can directly use the strength training gymnasium on the 3rd floor. The individual instruction is also there. Qin Rui introduced the layout and facilities of the martial arts club to Lu Qing. When the two passed by a practice field, they suddenly heard a surprised shout, Brother Lu Qing. Lu Qing looked over and found that it was his cousin's boyfriend, Ding Yanba. He was a long-term student and was walking and standing with 7 or 8 other people. Practice hard. Lu Qing smiled and encouraged him. Qin Rui put on a serious face and corrected the irregular movements of several students. This was the group he was in charge of. When the two were far away, a student asked Ding Yanba in a low voice, Ding Ding, who is that? Do you know him? He looks like he's very good at fighting. Although they didn't know that this was a sign of a certain level of body refining, they could still feel Lu Qing's fierceness and toughness. They felt that he didn't look weak at all when standing next to Qin Rui, who was more than 1.9 meters tall. Hey, it's me, it's my cousin. Ding Yanba was thick-skinned and pretended to be a relative. He's Brother Rui's classmate. Brother Rui specially invited him to teach the VIP class. Really? Several students were surprised. That was the VIP class that the master was in charge of. Of course, why would I lie to you? You'll know in a few days. Ding Yanba was so excited that his face turned red. I haven't told you that Brother Lu Qing is very likely to be the head coach of the martial arts club. This was what Qin Rui had mentioned when they were chatting. When the other students were about to ask, they saw Qin Rui stop and yell back, What are you talking about? Don't you want to eat? Suddenly, several students kept quiet out of fear and didn't dare to make a sound. Seeing this, Lu Qing found it funny and said, You're very dignified. Of course I am. These bastards dare to slack off when I smile at them. Qing, when you teach the VIP class on Monday, you should show them your power at the beginning. They'll be scared of you and then it'll be easier to control them later. Otherwise, kids at this age can turn the sky upside down. Qin Rui imparted his own experience. Lu Qing nodded thoughtfully and said, Okay. How should I show them my power? This is a really troublesome question. While he was thinking, Qin Rui asked in a low voice, Qing, are you going to participate in this youth tournament? Chapter 228. Lu Qing was still thinking about how to show off his power. He wondered if he should bring a rock over and smash it with a single whip in front of those kids. However, he also felt that it would be too deliberate, too forced, too pretentious, and too ungraceful of a master. While thinking, he heard Qin Rui's question. He was stunned for a few seconds before he recovered. I'm going to participate, but I don't know if I can register. The full name of the youth tournament was the 3rd Youth Champion Tournament of Xing Province. It was held once every 3 years. The registration requirement was to be a martial artist under the age of 26 from the province. Because of the saying, if you can't achieve physical invulnerability by the age of 30, you'll never be able to achieve physical invulnerability. Lu Qing's age definitely met the requirements, but the problem was that his household registration had been moved to Songqing University, where he participated in the ranking event. It was still a question whether he could be considered a martial artist from the province. This made him a little uncertain. He considered asking his master for help if he really couldn't get in. Anyway, the address on my ID card is still Xiaoshan City. Registration. Qin Rui was confused. He, who had never gone to college, couldn't imagine how Qing, who was born and raised in this place, wasn't a martial artist from his province. Until Lu Qing explained it to him, he suddenly understood. He laughed and said, "Don't worry, it's simple. If you can't register yourself, you can go through our martial arts club. Didn't you read the supplementary rules? Martial artists from the province, including those who work in the province, can register through their company or unit." Then I'm relieved. Lu Qing was relieved and showed a sincere smile. This was the challenge tournament that he had carefully selected. It perfectly met the requirements of having a lot of money, being at the right level, and not having to travel too much. As for other competitions, there were some good ones. For example, the Battle of the Kings, which started in mid-August every year and ended in early April next year. Even if Lu Qing wanted to participate, he would still be beaten up badly. He didn't have the strength to get the prize money at all. The Youth Martial Artist Championship competition of Xing Province was jointly organized by the provincial government and the Provincial Martial Artist Association. At first, it was intended to be a benchmark to encourage young martial artists to work hard and change the image of a weak province. However, after the competition started, they found that the viewership ratings were quite good. After all, the fighting styles of physical invulnerability experts and high-ranked dance stage experts were very different from low-level fighting with bare hands and feet. Many of the audience liked to watch thunder and fire, but they also liked the feeling of blood boiling when fists hit flesh. Therefore, after the first batch there was a second batch and then a third batch. With the rise of live streaming, the broadcasting fees increased rapidly, and so did the prize money. This year, the plan announced was that the top 32 would be given a prize money circle. It was not a progressive system. The champion would get 600,000 yuan, the runner-up would get 350,000 yuan, the third and fourth would get 200,000 yuan, the remaining 4 in the top 8 would get 100,000 yuan, the remaining 8 in the top 16 would get 50,000 yuan each, and the remaining 16 would get 10,000 yuan each. Lu Qing didn't know much about the martial arts circle in this province, but according to the information obtained from the internet and xianxia, there were at most 7 or 8 dance stage fighters under the age of 26, and even fewer professional 9th pin fighters with supernatural abilities. As long as his luck wasn't too bad, he would be guaranteed to be in the top 32. He might even be able to compete for the top 16 or even the top 8. If he could gain a lot from this month's training, Lu Qing felt that he would have greater ambitions. Qin Rui laughed and said sincerely, "Actually, this is our martial arts club's advantage. Think about it, when the time comes, the commentator will definitely say that you are the coach of the VIP class of Gushan Martial Arts Club in Xioshan City. With your strength, you will definitely be in the top 32. Then our martial arts club's fame will spread beyond Xioshan to the whole province. Maybe you will even be on the Xing Province Young Fighters roll call." Lu Qing had looked up the information about the youth tournament, so he naturally knew what the roll call was. It was a summary program of the youth tournament that Xing Province Satellite TV imitated the ancient customs. Only the top 16 fighters and outstanding fighters in certain aspects would be invited for an interview, and then they would be given a nickname they made up on their own. Most of the time, it would be very melodramatic, such as Little White Dragon, Ultimate Boxing King, and so on. Because he would always associate it with the Donglin roll call, Lu Qing didn't have the slightest interest in it. He laughed and said, "Will you also participate in the program?" "Yes, all the inner disciples will participate. This is what we told our parents when we signed up for the summer school. That's why the price is lower than last year's." Qin Rui took a breath and said with a longing look, "Although we definitely won't be in the top 32 and won't get the prize money, we can gain more practical experience. At the same time, we can figure out what level we are in among the young fighters in the province. Then we can find goals and motivation." "Well, this doesn't sound like something you would say." Lu Qing made a joke. Qin Rui smiled bitterly and said, "This is what my master has been nagging about recently. Qing, my master asked you to decide the fee for individual tutoring. How much do you plan to set?" "Why do you suddenly ask this? I don't know how much I should charge for my level." Lu Qing answered awkwardly. Besides, he could definitely teach a small class of 10. There was no need to go against his conscience and ask them for individual tutoring. Some money could be earned, but some couldn't. Senior brother Dai went to Gaofan a month ago to inquire about this. The fee for individual tutoring of a professional 9th pin fighter is 500 to 600 yuan per hour. You must be better than the average professional 9th pin fighter, so you should at least charge 800 yuan per hour. Qin Rui said with a smile, "Qing, do you think no one will ask you for individual tutoring? There are only 10 people in the VIP class. It's almost the same as individual tutoring." Lu Qing frowned and said his thoughts. Qin Rui smiled and said, "The ones who will ask you for individual tutoring are not the students in the VIP class, but us inner disciples and long-term students who want to become stronger. This kind of individual tutoring definitely did not involve the teaching of martial arts, so each person could solve many problems in 1 or 2 hours. There was no need to ask frequently. I see. Lu Qing finally understood that he was a real, discerning person, so he smiled and said to Qin Rui, "Anyway, it's free. Those kids in the VIP class who only wanted to strengthen their bodies would never understand the value of a top professional 9th pin fighter. No, it's too embarrassing to ask for free. How can I face you in the future? Just give me a classmate discount." Qin Rui beamed and said, "I've booked 2 hours of individual tutoring next week. I have to prepare for the youth tournament." "Okay, a classmate discount of 30%. I'll call you when I'm free." Lu Qing could understand Qin Rui's mentality of not wanting to take advantage of others, because he was the same kind of person. In fact, he knew that Qin Rui didn't earn much. Since he was in his own teacher's martial arts club, the cost of practicing martial arts was borne by his teacher, so his corresponding salary was much lower than the normal standard of an amateur first pin fighter. It was said that his monthly salary before was 2,000 plus commission for individual tutoring. After he got the amateur first pin certificate, his salary increased by 1,000. Among the inner disciples, Dai Linfeng only had a basic salary of 3,500. Of course, in a place like Xiaoxan it was not bad. Qin Rui was in a good mood, so he asked casually, "You don't have to visit relatives during the summer vacation, so you should be quite free. Hee, are you going on a date with your girlfriend?" Hee. Lu Qing laughed and admitted it. Anyway, Qin Rui already knew that he had a girlfriend. It's all because of Fatty Zhang's big mouth. At this time the two of them walked back to the first floor. Instead of continuing the topic, they walked toward one of the summer classes. There were only 5 classes of summer students in the gymnasium at the same time. This was the limit. Any more and it would affect the long-term training of the students. As they walked, Qin Rui suddenly felt that something was wrong. Because he didn't think about what he had just asked. Qing found his girlfriend when he was in college. How could he date during the summer vacation? I just asked casually and he admitted it? Is he going to send her thousands of miles away? Maybe she's from the same province. Maybe she's from Xiaoxan. The more he thought about it, the more he was interested in gossip. He planned to ask someone later to see if there was anyone else in Xiaoxan studying in Songqing. Su Rongfei, the inner disciple, looked helplessly at the summer class students who were all over the place in the horse stance. He put on a stern face and was about to lecture them when he suddenly saw Qin Rui walking over with a young man in a slim t-shirt. The more he looked at him, the more familiar he felt this young man was. Then he remembered what senior brother Dai had said before. Qin Rui's classmate Lu Qing was going to work part-time here. All of a sudden he seemed to have returned to the morning of the first day of the new year, to that bloody and terrifying scene. He saw the insufferably arrogant man in black training clothes softly fall to the ground, and he saw the young man who still had some remnants of youth standing upright. Yet now he had already shed his immaturity and was no longer a youth. He slowly walked in front of her. Su Rongfei subconsciously straightened his body and greeted him respectfully, "Brother Qing, just call me Lu Qing." Lu Qing said with a smile. "You call me Brother Lu better than Brother Qing. Don't you know the 2D world?" As he spoke, he glanced at the 30 boys and girls who were brimming with childishness. He felt their excitement for the first time. Practicing martial arts was still a barbaric thing for the kids. Before the hardships, it would be full of fun. After exchanging a few pleasantries, Lu Qing, Qin Rui, and Su Rongfei greeted each other and continued to walk around the training ground on the first floor. Looking at their backs, a girl asked curiously, "Coach Su, who is that? I didn't see him in the registration book before." The registration book would list the coaches in charge of each class. The strong ones would be described in detail, while the ordinary ones would be described in brief. The applicants were allowed to choose which class to join until they were full. Su Rongfei thought about Dai Linfeng's words and sighed. He's the new coach of the VIP class. Wow, the VIP class. The students in the class of 30 expressed their admiration and yearning. That's the martial arts class personally taught by the dojo master. That big brother who looked so strong just now was on the same level as the dojo master? After walking around the martial arts school, Qin Rui sent Lu Qing off. When they waved goodbye, they saw Chu Weikai leading Dai Linfeng out in a hurry. "Chairman Wei invited us over. Are you interested in joining us?" Chu Weikai stopped in front of Lu Qing and asked politely. "No thanks." Lu Qing declined the invitation. "Then we'll go first." Chu Weikai didn't waste time and went straight to the parking lot with Dai Linfeng. Qin Rui walked to Lu Qing's side and said with a smile, It's probably about the preliminaries again. Lu Qing nodded. He had a rough idea of what was going on. Qin Rui continued. Previously, a few teams from Xiaoshan were eliminated in the group stage. Chairman Wei has a rough idea of our standards. He plans to select 5 to 6 fighters from a few big martial arts schools and invite 1 or 2 locally born professional 9th pin fighters to undergo special training for half a year. It's said that not only will they be provided with funds, they will also be provided with internal training methods and a good coach. It's not like you don't have a chance if you work hard. After all, you're already of amateur first pin. Lu Qing saw the envy on Qin Rui's face and comforted him. I'll try my best. Qin Rui took a deep breath and smiled. During this time, Chairman Wei has been inviting a few locally born professional 9th pin fighters to come back for a discussion. Today it's most likely because of this matter. In my opinion, the most suitable coach is here. Qing, with your strength, won't you be able to defeat them? Me? I don't have the time. Lu Qing shook his head. If everything went well, when the preliminaries were in full swing next year, he would be on his way to the National University Martial Arts Competition. Chapter 229. After saying goodbye to Qin Rui and returning home, Lu Qing found the medicine jar and other things that he had bought online. He followed the instructions of the prescription step by step to complete the decoction. When everything was ready, Lu Qing, who had never done anything like this before, finally heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at his phone and noted down the current time. If he screwed up, it would be a waste of money. At this moment, Qi Yunfei, wearing a short-sleeved nightgown, walked to the kitchen door, rubbed her sleepy eyes and asked, "Brother Lu Qing, what are you doing? Are you sick?" "Doesn't look like it. Practicing martial arts medicinal soup." Lu Qing answered concisely. Oh. Qi Yunfei's face showed that although she didn't understand, she always felt that it was very awesome. Finally she swallowed and asked, "Brother Lu Qing, is there anything to eat?" "I'm starving." Lu Qing looked at her with annoyance and amusement. "You said you didn't sleep early or late. What's wrong with that? Wouldn't it be better to sleep for 1 more hour? Wait, it's already 11 o'clock. My mom will be back soon to cook." "Do I have to wait so long? I'm starving." Qi Yunfei pouted and said with grievance. Listening to her voice and feeling her tone, Lu Qing suddenly thought of the crying expression on her face. He laughed and said, "Don't you have a lot of snacks? They can't fill my stomach." "Humph, if your girlfriend is hungry, you definitely won't have such an attitude." Qi Yunfei pouted and said. Lu Qing was stunned. "Why do you say that?" Qi Yunfei quickly turned from anger to joy and said with a smile, "Yesterday when we were eating barbecue, your expression when you took the photo and sent the message was so gentle that I could pinch water out of it. I thought of a word, spoiling smile." Lu Qing's mind suddenly showed the classic expression of Shiba Inu. His mouth twitched and said, "Where did you learn this word?" "In a novel." Qi Yunfei answered firmly. Then she asked curiously, "What would you do if your girlfriend was hungry?" Lu Qing thought for a moment and said with a smile, "I'll treat her to my well-honed egg fried rice. If there's anything else she wants to eat, she can order it. If not, I'll hurry out and buy it for her. As for you, well, there's a box at the corner of the table. There are a few boxes of instant noodles in it." His mother had a strange hobby. She liked to keep a box of instant noodles at home, but she didn't eat them herself. He didn't know why. "You value a girl over a girl." Qi Yunfei looked as if she had suffered a blow. "Isn't this too clear? Your girlfriend is treated so well and I'm only fit to eat instant noodles?" Lu Qing thought for a moment and answered seriously, "Yes. Wasn't that obvious?" Of course his girlfriend was more important than his sister. Qi Yunfei covered her face and left the kitchen. She walked to the table and said loudly after a few seconds, "Braised beef noodles? I hate this the most. Brother Lu Qing, don't you have any other flavors?" "No. Just put up with it. It's time to eat." Lu Qing answered coldly. He took a photo of the medicine pot sitting on the fire with his mobile phone and sent it to xianxia. He shared with her his first experience of decocting medicinal materials. When time passed and everything was done, he mixed the 2 decoctions together and filled a big bowl. He took a photo again and sent it to xianxia with a snickering emoji. "It's a black bowl. Will I be poisoned?" xianxia replied, "Do you need mouth-to-mouth resuscitation? Hey, you've learned to flirt with me? No, I'm poisoned. Hurry up and give me mouth-to-mouth resuscitation." Lu Qing replied with a smile. xianxia sent a proud emoji. "I didn't say it was me. My dad used to take this as an elective. He's very good at it." "Then forget it." Lu Qing replied with an emoji of looking blankly at the sky. He was tricked by xianxia again. Xianxia sent an emoji of laughing. Who told you to always think the wrong way? You big pervert. Actually, I've checked the information and asked people. As long as the prescription given by Coach Sure is correct, it doesn't matter if you make a little mistake. At most, the medicine will be a little less effective. Then I'm relieved. I'll drink a bowl and try it later. Lu Qing took out another 2 bowls and divided the decoction into 2 portions. He would drink 1 portion later and the other portion tomorrow morning. His master had said that the decoction could be kept cold in the refrigerator. In the future, he would drink a bowl before morning training and another half an hour after breakfast. He didn't intend to reduce the intensity of his summer training. In addition to morning training, he also planned to have 2 hours of special training in the morning. He could also use the strength training gym of the martial arts school during his part-time work. Of course, this was summer. He could change the schedule if he wanted to, but the total amount would remain the same. At around 1 o'clock, Lu Qing watched Qi Yunfei sneak out of the house with the excuse of going shopping with her friends. He changed into his martial arts suit again and gulped down the bitter decoction. He didn't find a shady place in the community to do his special training. That way he wouldn't need to wait until tomorrow. At night, everyone in the community would know that Lu Jisheng was addicted to martial arts and didn't do his job properly. Under the scorching sun of early July, Lu Qing walked on the steaming hot ground and jogged to the nearest park at noon when there were few people on the road. He wanted to let the decoction dissolve little by little. When he arrived at the park, he felt a little warm in his stomach. So he used the power of frost to get rid of the high temperature on the surface of his body and to stop the flow of sweat. He found a shady place, took a posture and began to practice the thunder roar zen. Every move was slow and dull, but it could stir up the wind. At the same time, the thunder in his stomach continued. His muscles compressed and relaxed and vibrated continuously. Along with the effect of the decoction, he refined his strength into the smallest part of his body. After a few punches and kicks, he, who was half in meditation, was keenly aware that there was a trace of heat flowing into every part of his body. With the vibration of the thunder roar, it slowly forced out the impurities and condensed the purity. Bam! Bam! The airflow kept exploding. Lu Cheng's punches were slower and heavier than the one before. There was no need for special effects, but it was enough to frighten the audience. After an unknown amount of time, he withdrew his posture and exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. He had reached the limit of his current tempering. Although there were no signs or understanding of withdrawing, he felt that the strength in his body was slowly and subtly changing. With his own polishing, they gradually developed a feeling called penetrating. Penetrating. Lu Qing pondered over the words that could best describe the signs just now. Once again he used the cold current to get rid of the heat. Well, other things aside, the power of frost is still very useful in this regard. I, Lu Qing, am a walking air conditioner. While his thoughts were running wild, he suddenly heard the phone in his pocket ring. He took it out and saw that it was a call from Director Xing Qingwu. Hello, Uncle Xing? Lu Qing vaguely guessed what was going on. Director Xing laughed and said, Are you on vacation? Have you returned to Xiaoshan? I just arrived yesterday. Lu Qing answered honestly. I knew that Ku had returned home, so I thought you should have already arrived. If you're free, please come over. I didn't treat you to a meal last time. Director Xing made small talk. Sure. Lu Qing replied politely. Director Xing sighed and said with a smile, Don't be shy. Don't think that you're trying to curry favor with an official. You can't cross the moral threshold in your heart. I've been paying attention to your matches for the past few months. I really feel that you have a bright future ahead of you. Sai, it's impossible for me not to grow old in this lifetime. I have to think about the future of my children and family. It's a good thing for me to get to know a young talent like you, a very good thing. Hee, don't you feel better now that you think about it? Lu Cheng's thoughts, which were difficult for him to detect and accurately describe, were directly exposed. For a moment he blushed with shame. I don't have such thoughts. I sincerely treat you as an uncle. Uncle Xing's style of speaking was really like his personality, straightforward and direct. That's good. Back to business. Wang Su's case will be heard next Friday afternoon. As a secret witness you have to attend. Don't worry, there won't be any outsiders. I guarantee your safety. Be prepared and dress decently. Don't be like a boor like me who was always laughed at because of my clothes. Director Xing said heartily. After the frank and honest words, Lu Qing also felt relieved. He smiled and said, Okay. Was Wang Su's case finally coming to an end? After today's training, Qin Rue returned home and lay on his bed. Thinking of what happened before, he logged into QQ and found the well-informed person in his mind. Fatty Jiang, are you there? Can I ask you something? Jiang Fei had just woken up on the train and replied in boredom, What's the matter? Qin Rui was not a beauty. He did not need a good attitude. Do you know who in our grade got into Songqing? Qin Rui asked. Why do you ask this? Jiang Fei answered blankly, I only know 4. Qing Yanzhika Gu Chao from class 7, Li Liang from class 8, and there may be others. Gu Chao from class 7, Li Liang from class 8. Qin Rui tried hard to recall these 2 classmates, but he really did not know them. He could only ask again, which school are Gu Chao and Li Liang in? Are they both boys? Isn't that obvious? Gu Chao is in Songqing Technology and Li Liang is in Songbei Normal University. Jiang Fei only felt that Qin Rui's question was ridiculous. 2 boys, only Yanzhika was a girl. Qin Rui suddenly gasped. No way, but Fatty Zhang's information was not detailed enough, so it could not be accurate. Do you know who else in Xiaoshan got into Songqing? He asked cautiously. Jiang Fei replied in a bad mood, How would I know about other schools? Qin Rui thought for a while and decided to change the topic. You said Qing has a girlfriend. Do you know who she is? Are you stupid? I have never seen her or know her. How would I know? Jiang Fei said with an angry smile, I'll ask Qing face to face tomorrow. This bastard actually left the single life without a word. I see. Qin Rui was not sure, but he suddenly had some guesses and associations. He asked to confirm, there are only 2 girls in Songqing University, right? Should be. Who doesn't show off when they get into this kind of university? I remember it's only Cheng and Yanzhika. Jiang Fei answered without thinking. Only Cheng and Yanzhika in Songqing University? Qin Rui gasped again. It can't be. In her own bedroom in her grandfather's house, Yanzhika was holding her phone and rolling around. Then she took out the ring on her necklace and sighed faintly. I haven't seen Cheng for a day. Chapter 230. Because Yanzhika was asked by her grandparents to stay in Zhengke County for a few more days, Lu Qing could only continue his single life. He took medicine, did morning exercises, had special training for breakfast, took a shower and chatted on QQ, while Qi Yunfei happily went out for a date. Just when he was thinking that he hadn't seen Ku for 2 days, he suddenly heard a rude knock on the door. Knock knock knock. Who is it? Lu Qing casually shouted. In fact, according to this style, he could guess who it was even with his toes. It's me. Jiang Fei answered with a loud voice. He didn't consider whether the other person knew who he was. It was as good as not saying anything. Lu Qing put on his slippers and walked to the shoe cabinet. He opened the door and saw Jiang Fei, who was neither fat nor thin. He was carrying a laptop bag and looking at the scene in the room stealthily. Cheng Chili stood behind him with a face full of gossip. What are you looking at? Lu Qing laughed and scolded. Jiang Fei laughed and said, I don't want to disturb you. Well, no, you are probably a poor foreign dog now. He entered the room and changed his shoes as if he was back at home. Cheng, you didn't tell me you had a girlfriend. You are not a good friend. Cheng Chili combed his 3/7-part hair. What can you do if I tell you? I can't help you get monitor. Lu Qing replied with sophistry. Cheng Chili was speechless for a moment. After a long time he murmured, I can be happy for you. We are brothers. How can you hide such a good thing from me? I thought that if Fatty Jiang knew, you would know. Lu Qing closed the door and walked to the living room with Cheng Chili. But Jiang Fei had already arrived at the door of his bedroom and made a strange cry. Cheng, you slept with a girl in your room. You didn't take her to meet your parents directly, did you? She's only a freshman. You're awesome. Lu Qing stared at him and said, Where is your IQ? My cousin came to Xiaoshan to play and I was kicked out to sleep in the living room. You have met Qi Yunfei. Jiang Fei was a little disappointed. Then he winked and joked, You mean the cute one? She is in her first year of high school, right? Does she have a boyfriend? Cheng, I suddenly think it's good for you to be a brother-in-law. Lu Qing said with anger and amusement, It's too late for you to think about it now. She has had a boyfriend 800 years ago. Jiang Fei sucked in a breath of cold air. Children nowadays, how old are they to have boyfriends? And I'm still single to this day. This is really a sad thing. Cheng, you said you were still pursuing her during the winter vacation. When did you succeed? Cheng Chili was quite curious and pulled the topic back to the right track. There was no need to hide this. Lu Qing smiled proudly and said, After winter break, right after school starts. Cheng Chili was speechless and could only give him a thumbs up. For a moment, Lu Qing saw himself who used to look up to little Ming in his eyes. Come. Let us get to know sister-in-law. Do you have a picture of her? There must be. Jiang Fei put down his laptop bag, leaned over and smiled shyly. Calm. Look. Calm. It. Cut the crap. You don't want to show it to us, right? Jiang Fei was not misled and got the point. Lu Qing laughed and said, yes. Really. I will treat you to dinner with her in the future. It feels weird to show you her picture. If Fatty Jiang knew that his girlfriend was Ku, then the whole class would know as well. Once the whole class knew, then the whole grade would know as well. Sooner or later, it would reach Ku's father's ears. What's so strange about it? So mysterious. Jiang Fei had a high EQ. Sensing the insistence in Lu Cheng's tone, he only muttered one sentence and did not ask any more questions. Instead, he emphasized, you have to keep your word. When are you going to invite your girlfriend to treat us to a meal? Even if you're treating us in Songqing, I'll still run over. Okay, when the dust settles. Lu Qing promised and then changed the topic. Old Qing, how is it going between you and Monitor? Any progress? She had been too busy last semester to have a good talk with Cheng Chili about this. Well, it's still the same. Cheng Chili sighed. Lin is busy with the class and the student union every day. We don't have much time to talk. Hey, you're calling her Lin. Lu Qing joked. Jiang Fei shook his head. Monitor's character is like this. She likes to get involved in these things. She's very, very strong and has a strong desire to control. Old Qing, you have to think about it carefully. I like her this way. Cheng Chili answered weakly. I feel like I can't get into her life. You're not in the same school and you're a standard otaku who hates the chores in class and the student union. It's hard to get into Monitor's life. Lu Qing frowned. It's okay. I'll ask a real expert for you. The three of them chatted for a while, then they lined up the computers and played online games. Jiang Fei and Cheng Chili saw that Lu Qing picked up the phone from time to time and replied to the messages. They were more sure that he was in a relationship and was not bragging. This also made them more confused. What was there to hide about being in a relationship? Especially on the boy's side. Even if his parents knew, they would probably be happy to see it. After playing for a few hours, the two of them put on their laptop bags, left Lu Cheng's house slowly and got into Fatty Jiang's car. Jiang Fei thought about Lu Cheng's attitude while fastening his seat belt. Suddenly he said, Oh. Old Cheng, I know what's wrong. I smell the smell of gossip. What's wrong? Cheng Chili was not sensitive enough in this aspect. Old Cheng, think about it. We all know that Cheng is in a relationship. There's no need for him to hide who his girlfriend is. Jiang Fei pointed out the problem. If his girlfriend is from another city, we don't know her. Even if we see the photo, it won't have any effect at all. The gossip won't spread to that side. What do you mean? Cheng Chili understood Jiang Fei's unspoken words. We know his girlfriend. That's why he wants to hide it. Jiang Fei said proudly, we know her? She's not our classmate, is she? Monitor? Bah, you dog mouth. Cheng Chili scolded angrily. Jiang Fei turned the car key and started the ignition. He said casually, I'm just guessing. Hey, do you think it's Chow Lele? They've been desk mates for a long time. They're both studying in another city, so they're lonely. Maybe they can chat on QQ. Maybe they'll be together? It's possible. Cheng Chili answered seriously. It could also be Li Mingjia. She's studying in Donglin close to Cheng. Jiang Fei continued to guess. Cheng Chili sneered, that's nothing. There's someone closer. Yanjika is still in Songqing University. How is that possible? Jiang Fei laughed subconsciously, but suddenly, his hand froze in place as he was about to pull the handbrake. No way, this is simply unimaginable. It's been 3 days since I last saw Ku. Lu Qing finished his training, had breakfast, took a shower and changed his clothes. He took his keys and wallet, put on a clean martial arts suit, and took a taxi to Gushan Martial Arts School. Today was Monday. If there were no accidents, the first 10,000 yuan would be transferred to him today. Since it was his first time here, Chu Weikai, Dai Linfeng and Qin Rue all accompanied him to the VIP class's special training ground. Lu Qing looked around and found that they were all teenagers. The oldest was about 17 or 18 years old, and the youngest was about 12 or 13 years old. There were 6 boys and 4 girls, all dressed neatly. From the details he could see that they were all from good families. To be honest, although Lu Qing was only 19.5 years old, which was not much better than the oldest student with his current mentality, looking back at high school students was like looking at children. Students, this is Coach Lu Qing, the martial arts school specially invited for you. He's a real professional 9th pin fighter, much better than me. He'll be teaching you from now on. Dai Linfeng introduced Lu Qing to the students. A 14 or 15-year-old girl giggled, Really? Better than you, Coach Dai? Why don't you have a fight and show us? Her eyes were bright, full of curiosity and excitement. The new coach looked cool and strong. She wondered how he would fare in a real fight. How much better is a professional 9th pin fighter than an amateur 1st pin fighter? Wu Ting, don't be naughty. Coach Lu will punish you to run 10 laps later. Dai Linfeng laughed. Lu Qing took a step forward, smiled and said, "Hello everyone. I'm Lu Qing. Earlier, Coach Dai and the others told me that at the beginning of the class, I should show off in front of you and frighten you so that it would be easier to control later. I've been thinking about how to do that." His frank words immediately amused the 10-and-a-half-year-old children, causing the whole hall to roar with laughter. The new coach was so interesting. Wu Ting, who had 2 ponytails, shouted cheerfully, "Breaking stones with your chest. Coach Lu, I support you." Lu Qing smiled, "This is not a skill." Clubmaster Chu, can I borrow your sandbag?" He pointed at the sandbag not far away. "Okay, you don't have to pay for it if you break it," Chu Weikai said with a smile. Qin Rui and Dai Linfeng were waiting with great interest. They wanted to see what kind of tricks Lu Qing would play with the sandbag. It wouldn't be easy to show off by hitting the sandbag, right? Wu Ting and the other students followed Lu Qing's gaze. They watched him walk to the sandbag and push it to feel its material and weight. Would Coach Lu Qing break the sandbag directly? It didn't seem too difficult, right? Lu Qing took a step back and began to adjust his muscles and tendons, wriggling the corresponding 5 viscera and 6 bowels. This was the preparation for the severe warning. But Lu Qing didn't plan to use it in conjunction with visualization. He didn't need to be so serious in order to show off his power. He planned to use the severe warning to inject his power into the sandbag in an instant, faster than the shaking of the sandbag so that it couldn't dissipate the power. Then he would use the Thunder Roar Zen to detonate it in an instant. Lu Qing took a deep breath. His back muscles bulged and his shoulders exploded. His right arm popped out and hit the sandbag with the heart-drilling hammer. Bang. After a dull sound, the sandbag didn't move an inch. What is he doing? Wu Ting and the other students were confused. Dai Linfeng and Qin Rui were also confused. Only Chu Wei's pupils suddenly contracted. Boom. In an instant, the sandbag in front of Lu Qing exploded, as if it had been installed with a bomb. It shattered into pieces from the inside out. Fine sand fell like rain from the sky. Wu Ting and the others were stunned. There wasn't much sand in Lu Qing's original direction, so he still felt refreshed. He walked back slowly. He broke the sandbag, literally breaking it. Wu Ting and the other students had never seen such a thing before. They only felt that it was much cooler than breaking a sandbag. Coach Lu is so awesome. Chu Weikai looked at Lu Qing walking back and sighed deeply. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Teach them well. We'll leave first. Okay. Lu Qing smiled and nodded. Qin Rui and Dai Linfeng, who were still in a daze, followed Chu Weikai up the stairs to the 3rd floor. Only then did Qin Rui find it funny. Can those little brats understand Lu Qing's punch just now? He's just flirting with blind people. At most they'll think it's cool. They won't feel like they're being shown off. Dai Linfeng took a deep breath and stole a glance at his teacher. He smiled bitterly. I feel like we're being shown off. Chapter 231. Practice Field. Lu Qing glanced at the cleaning lady and said to the excited students, "Introduce yourselves or I won't know who you are. Start from the left." He had seen the name list of this class in Chu Wei's office, but he couldn't match them with real people. He only knew that the active and talkative girl was Wu Ting. The girl on the far left had short hair. She smiled sweetly and said, "I'm Zhang Qiufan, 12 years old. I'll be in the 1st grade of experimental high school soon." She was the youngest kid in the VIP class. Lu Qing nodded slightly. He had a plan for her training so as not to affect her physical development. Only the VIP class had this kind of care. Which coach could take care of so many people at the same time? How could he teach according to each person's condition? I'm Yao Ruiwei, 15 years old. I'm in the 3rd grade of number 1 middle school. I'll be in the 1st grade of high school when school starts. The little fatty, about 165 meters tall and about the same weight, introduced himself. Feifei's classmate in 2 months. Lu Qing smiled and observed Yao Ruiwei's body shape. He found that Yao Ruiwei was weak on the inside and strong on the outside. He had to pay attention to the amount of training or it would be easy to cause problems. Damn, even my master didn't teach me so seriously. I'm Li Lei, 18 years old. I'm in the 3rd grade of Taichung High School. I'll be going to Hudong University soon. The oldest student in the VIP class said proudly. He was about 170 meters tall with a strong body and thick and messy eyebrows. The teaching quality of Taichung High School is average, but the fighting atmosphere is very strong. It's not bad to be admitted to Hudong University there. Lu Qing thought casually. Hudong University is just an ordinary key university. I'm Wu Ting, 15 years old. I'm in the number 1 middle school. After 5 or 6 students, it was finally the turn of the girl with 2 ponytails and white skin. She deliberately emphasized that she was admitted by herself, as if she was afraid that others would misunderstand that she had spent money. She had a clear spirit and a strong body. This girl must have been practicing. At least she had some martial arts experience. Lu Qing nodded thoughtfully. By the time all the students had finished their self-introductions, he had roughly matched the names of the people and had a preliminary understanding of the physical condition of each of the 10 people. Well, I'll teach you some kung fu to calm your mind and restrain your qi. Consider it a warm-up. Lu Qing said calmly. Wu Ting immediately raised her hand and asked excitedly, Coach Lu, are you going to teach us meditation? This was one of the most basic things of profound martial arts. Don't think too much. Lu Qing smiled. At your age you haven't fully matured yet. You haven't reached the level of vigorous qi and blood of an adult. The more you practice the still stance, the more tired you get. The more you practice the still stance, the worse your spirit will be. Your body will also feel like it's hollowed out. What I'm going to teach you is just a little trick to calm your mind and collect your qi. It will help you enter the state of tempering as soon as possible. Among the students present, Li Lei was the only one who could try the still stance, but there was no need to give him special treatment. After all, Headmaster Chu and Qin Rui had already said that this was only for the sake of strengthening the body. The students were first amused by his trendy humor and lost their voices. They felt that there was not much of a generation gap between them and their coach. Then they were slightly disappointed and expressed their regret for the hopeless still stance. After a short period of calming down, Lu Qing continued as planned. Next, I'll teach you the horse stance and pole standing. Horse stance? Coach Lu, you're so good. Why are you teaching us such things? I thought you were going to directly teach us the moves and force generation techniques. Wu Ting raised her hand again and said eagerly. You talk too much. Lu Qing scolded in his heart. He smiled and said, You don't have any foundation. Your backs are very stiff and your legs are very loose. If you don't practice your pole standing well, even if I teach you the moves and force generation techniques now, you'll only be able to put on some fancy stances at most. Punches will be like massages. Speaking of this, his face became serious. Moreover, no matter how profound or powerful the martial arts are, it starts with the basic pole standing step by step. How can a 10,000-foot tall building be built from the ground? Do you know how deep the foundation is? Do you know how much time and effort I've put into the basic pole standing to get to where I am today? His lofty image of breaking a sandbag with one punch was still fresh in his mind. Wu Ting and the others quickly quieted down and nodded. You can't stay in the horse stance. You have to have a rise and fall and a change in your center of gravity. It's like riding a real horse. Pay attention to my posture. I'll tell you in detail how to exert force from the feet to the ankle joint to the knee joint. Lu Qing didn't follow the script. Instead, he incorporated some of the insights he gained from his training and the insights he gained from the concealment of spirit and qi in meditation. Zhang Qiufan, Yao Ruiwei and the others were newcomers. For the time being they were still very enthusiastic. They listened very seriously and attentively. Soon, according to Lu Qing's instructions, they were in the horse stance. Lu Qing walked around them and observed them one by one. He immediately pointed out if there was something wrong with the posture. If there was something wrong with the force generation, he would help them correct it with a tap of his foot or a twist of his hand. Remember how you feel now. This is the most suitable posture for you. Lu Qing stood beside Zhang Qiufan with his arms crossed and reminded her. Yes, Coach Lu. Zhang Qiufan was the youngest and also the most timid. She answered meticulously. Lu Qing took out his phone and looked at the time. He then came to Yao Ruiwei and found that the little fatty was already trembling. Sweat was gathering on his forehead. Lu Qing didn't say anything. He just watched for a few minutes. Suddenly he said, You can take a break at the side. He always kept in mind that these half-grown kids were here to strengthen their bodies, not to practice martial arts. Yao Ruiwei was clenching his teeth and persevering when he suddenly heard the coach's order. He suddenly felt that he was hallucinating. He pointed at himself and asked doubtfully, Only me? Only I can rest? Yes, you can rest for 10 minutes. Lu Qing answered with a smile. Wu Ting, who was sitting in the back row, couldn't stand it. She shouted, Coach Lu, you're biased. Why can he rest but we can't? When you guys grow as fat as him, you can also rest in advance. Lu Qing said half-jokingly. Wu Ting, Zhang Qiufan and the others laughed out loud. One by one they said, We don't want to. Lu Cheng withdrew his gaze and looked at the little fatty who was in pain because of his joke. He said seriously, Yao Ruiwei, do you think I'm exposing your scars? As the saying goes, don't hit people in the face when you hit them. No. Yao Ruiwei lowered his head and answered. Lu Cheng maintained a serious expression. I've read the information and know that you weren't born fat. You came to the martial arts class this time with the intention of losing weight, right? Yes. Yao Ruiwei answered honestly. That's why I'll remind you often and stimulate you so that you won't forget the purpose of training, lose your motivation and slack off. Train well and in 2 months, let's see if you're still fat. Lu Cheng suddenly emphasized. Yao Ruiwei clenched his teeth. Yes, Coach Lu. Pole standing training, rest, pole standing training, rest. Lu Cheng controlled the rhythm and let the students gradually master a few basic skills. He also increased their training load little by little. During the break he didn't waste any time. He opened up his stance and practiced the thunder roar zen in the center of the field. Through the vibration he catalyzed the effect of the medicine and refined his body. In the sound of the airflow exploding, Li Lei, Zhang Qiufan and the other students were excited and eager to give it a try. Sounds awesome. Yao Ruiwei, the little fatty, muttered to himself. Li Lei took a breath and said, When can I train to such a sound? Wu Ting rolled her eyes at them. It's still too early. My dad said that if you can train to such a sound, it's already an important step in martial arts. If you're more familiar with your punches and kicks, you can even go to the ranking ceremony. After more than 2 hours, Lu Cheng looked at the students who were a little irritated and disgusted. He clapped his hands and said, Okay, that's all for the basics. Next, I'll teach you the basic moves and the corresponding force exertion skills. Wu Ting, Zhang Qiufan and the others immediately cheered. They felt a sense of relief and became excited again. However, they soon realized that they had just jumped from one heated brick bed to another. The repetitive practice of punching and kicking was extremely boring. Their limbs were especially sore and weak. Coach Lu, can't you let us practice with each other? I see that the other classes are also sparring. During the break, Wu Ting complained, feeling wronged. That's because they're messing around, Lu Cheng said bluntly. Lu Cheng commented bluntly. 2 rookies will only develop bad habits and make inaccurate movements. When the time comes, it will be difficult to correct them. When he was in the martial arts special training, he was always guided by senior brothers and sisters of high ranks. Then we can spar with you, right? If we don't have enough time, we can pay Coach Lu to guide us alone. Wu Ting raised her hand and suggested. Lu Cheng laughed. Let's talk about it after you've mastered the basic moves and force exertion skills. I'll leave some time for practice in the class. It's not worth the money. His training intensity was only 1/3 of the martial arts special training. In other words, this group of half-grown kids could only practice with each other next week. After that, he looked at the clock on the wall. Okay, time's up. If you feel sore and tired, you can pay the physiotherapist of the martial arts school. The rest of you don't have to. Go home and do some relaxation exercises. Then you'll feel better. After watching Lu Cheng leave the practice field, Wu Ting lowered her voice and said, Coach Lu is really different. I heard from other classes that their coaches like to encourage them to practice with each other. Unlike Coach Lu, he doesn't want us to practice with each other. It means that Coach Lu is really teaching us attentively. He doesn't need to teach us the good stuff until we practice with each other. Li Lei wiped his sweat and answered seriously. After finding a physiotherapist to relax, Wu Ting returned home. She was surprised to find that her very busy father, Wu Qinggui, didn't go out. What a rare guest. She felt wronged and joked. Wu Qinggui hugged his daughter and stroked her hair. I want to come back to accompany you whenever I'm free. How about it? How do you feel about your new coach? Wu Ting knew that her father started out as a martial artist, but failed to pass the ranking event of professional 9th pin several times. Later, he switched to other industries and made a fortune, reaching the pinnacle of life. However, no matter what, his vision and knowledge were still there. He was still her idol. So she excitedly chattered, Our coach is super awesome. He blew up the sandbag with one punch. Blew up? Wu Qinggui asked in confusion. Did she mean it literally or was she exaggerating? Wu Ting gestured with her hands and said, He really blew it up. Like this, he blew it up. Wu Qinggui's mouth was half open. After a while he muttered to himself, Is this something a professional 9th pin can do? Since when did Xiaoshan have such a powerful fighter? And he came here to teach a half-grown child? Wu Ting noticed the change in her father's expression. Suddenly, a thought flashed through her mind. Coach Lu may be many times more powerful than we thought. After lunch and the strength training gymnasium, the temporarily single Lu Cheng called Qin Rue and asked him to come to the martial arts school in the afternoon for guidance on still stance. Qin Rue laughed and said, "You're free so soon? You haven't had a date with your girlfriend recently." Lu Cheng answered casually, "She went to her grandfather's house." After saying that, he suddenly felt that something was wrong. How did Qin Rue know that he often saw his girlfriend? Maybe he just asked casually. "I can't reveal anything in the future." Qin Rue hung up the phone and quickly sent a message to Jiang Fei. Fatty Jiang, go and ask Song Li if Yanjika went to her grandfather's house." Chapter 232. When Jiang Fei received the message, he immediately opened up a discussion group. Initially, he did not have Song Li's QQ number. However, after spreading the news of Song Li and Du Liu's relationship, Du Liu pulled him into this discussion group. After receiving Song Li's criticism and education, Jiang Fei made a deep self-reflection and self-criticism. Fleeting memories, Song Li, are you there? Can I ask you something? At this moment, Jiang Fei was feeling nervous, excited, expectant and excited. He wanted to confirm something but also wanted to deny something. It was quite contradictory. Fleeting memories, Song Li quickly replied, "What's the matter? Don't ask for a secret, I won't tell a blabbermouth like you." Jiang Fei took a deep breath and typed on the keyboard, "Yanjika is at her grandfather's house these days, right? Why do you ask?" Song Li replied warily, suspecting that Fatty Jiang had ulterior motives. Jiang Fei picked up the cup beside him and took a sip, then typed, "I want to confirm something. If you tell me the answer, I'll tell you a secret later." Song Li's curiosity was piqued. "What secret? You tell me first." It seemed to be about Yanjika. "If you don't answer my question, I can't confirm the secret." Jiang Fei revealed a little bit of his bottom line. Song Li thought for a while and felt that it was not too important, so she replied, "Yanjika is at her grandfather's house. She also promised to go shopping with me when I come back. She was really at her grandfather's house." Jiang Fei only saw the first half of the sentence and his jaw dropped. Even though he was already prepared, his heart was still in turmoil. Images of the past flashed through his mind. She was wearing a military training uniform, but she was still beautiful and eye-catching. The fun and joy of sneaking glances at Class 3 with Cheng and the others when they passed by Class 3, every little detail of her past by word of mouth, the most beautiful and pure memories of youth and girls. During the winter holidays, Cheng chatted with a gentle smile on his face on his mobile phone. "I'm so stupid, I should have guessed it earlier." Jiang Fei patted his forehead and suddenly remembered that he had asked Lu Cheng if the girl he was chasing was a classmate of Songqing University. Lu Cheng's answer was yes. She was a classmate of Songqing University and someone I knew. Who else could it be but Yanjika? "Hey Fatty Jiang, where's the promised secret? Where are you?" Song Li asked when she saw that Jiang Fei had not replied for a long time. Jiang Fei subconsciously raised his hand to reply, but accidentally knocked over the glass of water beside him. With a crash, the water spilled out. He hurriedly picked up the computer, pulled out a tissue and wiped the desktop. Suddenly, he sighed and cursed under his breath. "Damn Cheng, I'm so envious of you." He was happy for his good friend from the bottom of his heart, but there was also a faint sense of melancholy and disappointment. Cheng was not the only one who had a crush on Yanjika. That was the purest and most innocent dream that many boys had of their youth in high school. But now it was monopolized by Cheng. This guy actually managed to win Yanjika's heart. Although he has become very strong now, I still can't believe that Yanjika likes him. Jiang Fei calmed down all kinds of emotions, put down the computer and replied to Song Li, "The secret is that Yanjika is in love." After sending this sentence, he felt an inexplicable sense of loss. "What? Yanjika is in love? How come I didn't know?" Song Li said in shock. She had been in contact with Yanjika every day. How could she not know that she was in love? She must be lying, right? No. Song Li suddenly remembered that this semester, her focus had been on Du Liu. She was in the phase of being in love and had subconsciously neglected many things. She thought carefully and remembered that Yanjika would mention the martial arts club from time to time. And every time she did, a familiar name would come up. "It's with Lu Cheng, right?" Song Li suddenly realized and asked in return. "Why am I so slow?" When a girl inadvertently mentioned a boy's name repeatedly, the meaning was self-evident. *CK, how did Song Li guess it so quickly? Cheng and Yanjika were so obvious? Jiang Fei was stunned and replied, "Yes, they have been together since last semester." It was hard to imagine what Yanjika would be like when she was in love. At this moment, Jiang Fei, who had told Qin Rue the result, suddenly frowned and felt that he had made a mistake. To be honest, if he had won Xianxia's heart, he would have spread the news to the whole class. Why did Qing want to hide it? Could it be that he had no choice but to do so? Damn it, I've already said it. Why can't I control my mouth? Jiang Fei picked up his phone nervously and decided to call Lu Qing first. Surrendering should not be a death sentence, right? Beep. Lu Qing picked up his phone and saw that the down payment of 10,000 yuan had been received. He smiled at Qin Rui and said, "Stop for a while and try again. Don't rush. The more you rush, the harder it will be to meditate." Okay. Qin Rui opened his eyes and moved his neck. He took the phone back from the machine beside him. It's really Xianxia? He took a closer look and his knees almost gave out. There was only one thought in his mind: I'm kneeling down to Brother Lu. What's wrong? Lu Qing noticed his abnormality and asked with concern. But as soon as he finished speaking, he felt the phone in his hand vibrate violently. Fatty Jiang? Lu Qing picked up the phone in confusion. Hello, Fatty Jiang, what's up? Why did he have to call me in such a hurry? Jiang Fei swallowed hard and said, Qing, tell me the truth. Are you in love with Xianxia? Lu Qing felt like he was struck by lightning. He was stunned for a while and said, How did you know? He was going to deny it, but when the words came to his mouth, he couldn't say it. This was one of the things he was most proud of. You didn't want to tell me who your girlfriend is, right? I thought if we don't even know your girlfriend, you don't have to hide it. So, she must be someone we know. Jiang Fei was about to blurt out Qin Rui's accomplice, but suddenly realized something and stopped. He planned to cover it up with Cheng's own disclosure during the winter vacation. However, Lu Qing suddenly remembered Qin Rui's strange question. He turned around and glared at Qin Rui. Qin Rui's knees were really weak. So you asked Qin Rui to trick me? Lu Qing interrupted Jiang Fei's statement. I'm just curious. Jiang Fei laughed dryly. Lu Qing said unhappily, Why are you so nosy? I didn't say it because I was afraid you would spread it around. Hey Fatty Jiang, you didn't tell anyone, right? I did. Jiang Fei answered weakly. Then he mustered up his courage and said, Why don't you just tell me and tell me not to spread it? I don't even know what's going on. How can I keep it a secret? Lu Qing felt like he was going to faint. Who did you tell? Du Liu also told you not to spread it? How am I supposed to trust your mouth now? Qin Rui Song Li, maybe Du Liu will see it too. Jiang Fei answered honestly. Qin Rui Song Li Du Liu? Good, the situation is still under control. Lu Qing was slightly relieved. He didn't have time to strangle Fatty Jiang. He planned to solve the problem first. Hurry up and tell Song Li and Du Liu not to spread it. I'll ask Ku to tell them again. Leave Qin Rui to me. So smooth and affectionate. Jiang Fei almost burst into tears. He quickly replied, Okay, I'll tell them right away, no, warn them. But Qing, why do you want to hide it? This is great news. Lu Qing thought about it and felt it was inconvenient to talk about it over the phone. So he said, Come to Gushan Martial Arts School. I'll tell you face to face and bring Qin Rui along. Okay. Jiang Fei hung up and hurriedly sent a message to Du Liu and Song Li. Then he inexplicably wondered if he would be killed if he went to Gushan Martial Arts School. Lu Qing hung up and looked back at Qin Rui. Qin Rui gave him a thumbs up and said with a bashful smile, Brother Lu, I sincerely call you Brother Lu. Who knows how many boys in our grade will hate you to the core and envy you to the core. Including me. Lu Qing smiled helplessly. Don't tell anyone about this. Why not? Qin Rui asked in surprise. He had the same thought as Jiang Fei that this was great news. I'll tell you when Fatty Jiang arrives. Lu Qing pressed a button and called Xianxia. As soon as the call was connected, both of them spoke at the same time. Qing Song Li guessed that we're in a relationship. Cuckoo, Fatty Jiang has guessed our intentions. Both of them were stunned. Xianxia blinked and said, What's the situation? Tell me from the beginning. So Song Li didn't guess it by herself? And she even pretended to be a detective in front of me? Here's the thing. Lu Qing told her about Jiang Fei's reasoning process and how he casually answered Qin Rui's question. He was a little annoyed. He was too careless and didn't have any vigilance. How could he hide it from his father-in-law in the future? Feeling her boyfriend's annoyance, Xianxia's instinctive emotions disappeared. She laughed and scolded, Idiot Qing. Our family's IQ still depends on me in the future. I'll remind Song Li and Du Liu again. I don't think they'll tell anyone. As for Qin Rui and Jiang Fei, why don't we treat them to a meal to thank them for not telling anyone? Hearing his girlfriend's suggestion, Lu Qing couldn't help but laugh. Ku, I know you're much better and more mature than me when it comes to interpersonal relationships. But there's no need to be so formal between guys. I'll give Fatty Jiang and Qin Rui some pointers later. Alright, I'll trust you. Xianxia pursed her lips and smiled, showing her dimples. Don't worry too much. Actually, I'm prepared to tell Song Li, Sister Jingjing, Gu Shuang and the others about our relationship in the next few days. They'll be our shields when we meet. For example, she could use the excuse of going shopping with Song Li to go to Cheng's place one day. For this kind of thing, she definitely had to explain to the other party and verify their statements. Phew, so only Jiang Fei and Qin Rui shouldn't know? I'll kill them later. Lu Qing joked. Then he couldn't hide his longing and asked, Ku, when are you coming back? Xianxia touched the necklace in front of her chest and bit her lip. I was going to come back tonight. But the weather is very gloomy and the wind is very strong. It looks like it's going to rain. I'm worried that something might happen to my parents if they drive over, so I asked them to wait a little longer. Maybe tomorrow night or the night after. Because Qin Rui was right beside him, Lu Qing didn't say anything sweet. He comforted the girl and hung up the phone. When Qin Rui finished another round of still stance, Jiang Fei arrived at the Gushan martial arts school. Hey Qing, where are you guys? Should I come in directly? He asked over the phone. Lu Qing pondered for a while and replied, You wait outside. We'll find a quiet place. A few minutes later, the three of them met at the side of the martial arts school. There was an area marked off as a parking spot for bicycles and electric scooters. Lu Qing observed the surroundings and found that there was only an old lady watching the scooters in the distance. He felt relieved and said humorously, I've gathered all of you here so that I can silence you. Jiang Fei and Qin Rui burst into laughter and were no longer as cautious as before. Qing, so many people are jealous of your relationship with Xianxia. What's there to hide? Jiang Fei asked straightforwardly. Lu Qing shook his head and smiled bitterly. 'Cause family doesn't want her to date in college. Oh. Jiang Fei suddenly understood. Just tell us directly. We'll definitely keep it a secret. That's right. If you don't tell us and we keep guessing, it'll be easier to leak it. Qin Rui echoed. I don't trust your big mouth. Lu Qing stared at Fatty Jiang and laughed. No. I have to leave a deep impression on you so that you'll instinctively stop when you're about to say it. What kind of deep impression? Jiang Fei was very curious. Lu Qing looked around and walked to the parking spot a few steps away. It was blocked by cement blocks and a few thin iron chains. Think about your neck. Lu Qing smiled and threatened them. Suddenly, he lowered his center of gravity and reached out his right hand to grab the thin iron chain. His knuckles and every inch of muscles and fascia in his hand suddenly exerted strength. With a snap, the iron chain was broken by him. Jiang Fei and Qin Rui were both stunned. They subconsciously took a step back and touched their own necks. This is F***King Iron. Lu Qing stopped his posture and smiled. Remember it, right? This is the power that can only be achieved when you start to practice your martial arts in detail. As soon as he finished speaking, a harsh shout came from behind him. Hey, stop. The old lady scurried over and glared at Lu Qing. Which unit are you from? Which company are you in? Are you from the Gushan martial arts school? How can you destroy public property? She blabbered a bunch of words as if she had turned on a machine gun. Lu Qing was at a loss at first, then his face became dull. Andy, please stop. I'll pay for it, okay? This is really a deep impression. Chapter 233. Ha 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 ha. Xianxia laughed so hard that she rolled on the bed. She hated that she didn't see it with her own eyes. That's for damaging public property. That's for damaging public property. After a long time she finally calmed down. She wiped the tears from her eyes and looked up at the gloomy sky outside the window. She hadn't seen Qing for almost 4 days. When two people could see each other every day and spend time together in their free time, there were many feelings that were not clear. When they were suddenly separated, so close that they could not touch each other, every little detail in their lives would suddenly jump out and fill the surroundings. Last night, Grandma specially made crabs. She subconsciously picked one up and carefully dissected it. She could even suck out the meat in the leg. When she finished all this and wanted to give them to her grandfather, she found that the person in her heart was not there. She had no choice but to give them to her grandfather. She felt lost. She accompanied the old couple for a walk. During the break, she took out a tissue and stood beside the bench in a daze. Because in the past, some idiot would take the tissue and carefully wipe it. When she encountered something interesting and wanted to share it with him. When she felt wronged and wanted to act coquettishly. When she missed the good food nearby and was worried about the old couple. When the wind blew past and her palms were empty. When she chatted happily on QQ but couldn't feel his warmth. Xianxia turned over and sat up. She listened to the whistling outside the window and felt the pressure before the storm. She pursed her lips and sent a message to Lu Cheng without using an emoji. I want to come back early. I miss you a little. I want to come back early. When he saw this message, Lu Cheng had just finished an hour of still stance instruction for Qin Rui and was sitting in Jiang Fei's car. His heart suddenly palpitated. Xianxia's bright eyes appeared in front of him, her soft voice echoed in his ears, and his nose faintly smelled the familiar sweet fragrance. What's wrong? Jiang Fei found that he was absent-minded. Lu Cheng glanced at him and sighed. You'll understand when you have a girlfriend. Can you not stab me in the heart? A man can be killed but not humiliated. Even a single man has dignity. Jiang Fei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Not only did you get my goddess, but you also ridiculed me for not having a girlfriend. The two of them teased each other all the way back to Lu Cheng's neighborhood. Do you want to go up? I'll treat you to a cup of 1983 water. Lu Cheng joked casually. Is that Mengpo's soup? Jiang Fei scolded jokingly. Then he replied seriously, I'm not going up. With this terrible weather it's going to rain soon. You're right. Be careful. Lu Cheng waved his hand, carried the bag and walked into the neighborhood. The wind was so strong that the trees swayed and the leaves fell from time to time. The gloomy clouds hung low and weighed heavily on everyone's hearts. Even Lu Cheng, who was rarely sentimental, couldn't help but feel a sense of melancholy, as if he was the only one left in the world. He missed his mother very much. He went up the stairs and opened the door. The room was quiet and no one had returned. He took out his cell phone and sent a message to Xianxia. Laughing and crying emoji, I feel like a left-behind child. So I'm a parent working outside? Xianxia replied with a snickering emoji. After chatting for a while, she went to help her grandma get some things. Lu Cheng, on the other hand, scrolled up their chat history out of habit, recalling every word they had said. I want to come back early? Lu Cheng was stunned when he saw this message again. He felt that something was expanding in his heart. He suddenly stood up from the sofa and rushed into his room. He took out his high school bag and the thermos that Xianxia gave him. He didn't stop walking. He jumped into the kitchen and washed the cup. Then he went back to the living room and opened the refrigerator door. He took out one of the 2 extra bowls of medicinal soup and poured it into the thermos. He closed the thermos tightly and put it into his bag along with his martial arts suit and boxers. Dang dang dang. He put on his backpack, opened the door and went out. After passing through the entrance of the unit, he called for an online taxi and immediately called Jiang Fei. Hello Cheng. What's up? Fatty Jiang answered with his Bluetooth headset. Lu Cheng ran against the wind to the gate of the neighborhood and said in a low voice, Fatty Jiang, if my mom calls you, tell her that I'm sleeping at your place tonight. Ah, okay. Where are you going? Jiang Fei asked curiously. Lu Cheng took a breath and said, to the train station. Not the train station. Why are you going to the train station? Is there an emergency? Jiang Fei felt that he couldn't keep up with Lu Cheng's pace. Lu Cheng spat out the foul breath he had just taken. To Jianghu County. Kochien. If she can't come back early then I'll go there. Why should I wait like a fool? Jianghu County? What are you going to do there? Jiang Fei was confused. He didn't get an answer because Lu Cheng had hung up the phone. Jianghu County. Jianghu County. His thoughts raced and he suddenly remembered something. Xianxia's hometown is Jianghu County. Damn. I've known Cheng for so many years, but I didn't know until today that Cheng is a man of action. Jiang Fei suddenly felt that Lu Cheng's ability to win Xianxia's heart was not without reason. It was quite dangerous to take a car in the storm. Although there was no train from Xiaoshan to Jianghu County, there were still express and express trains. Lu Cheng rationally chose the latter and booked a ticket for 6 p.m. in the online taxi hailing service. The whole journey would only take 35 minutes. Only then did he call his mother, Qi Fang, and tell her that he was going to play at Fatty Zhang's house and wouldn't be coming back tonight. Look at you, kid. You've been home for a few days but you've been running outside every day. You haven't even gone to your grandfather's house. Qi Fang nagged a little but didn't say much. Her child had grown up and was independent now. 10 minutes later, Lu Cheng arrived at the train station. The sky was already filled with muffled thunders, each louder than the last. Lightning illuminated the gloomy environment. Don't be like this. The storm is coming. Won't the train be late? Lu Cheng was deeply worried. His original plan was to arrive at Jianghu County before the storm, find a hotel to stay in, and then make arrangements according to the specific situation on Xianxia's side. Who knew that the storm would come faster than he expected? According to Murphy's Law, when something is likely to develop in a bad direction, it is highly likely to develop in that direction. After Lu Qing passed the security check, he was not surprised to hear that the train would be late. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The storm was pouring down. This night was much later than usual. Many people directly canceled their plans to go out. Lu Qing waited patiently. He didn't reveal anything in his chat with xianxia. If he really couldn't make the trip, wouldn't that make the girl look forward to nothing? He ate dinner at the train station and browsed the news from time to time, praying that the storm wouldn't lead to a flood. Outside the house, the rain fell like a waterfall, knocking on the window, making the room quiet. While chatting with Lu Qing, xianxia looked at her classmates and sighed that the rain was really heavy this time. Which part of the house was wet? Phew, luckily I didn't ask Empress Dowager and others to come and pick me up. She sighed softly. At 11 o'clock at night, Lu Qing was still waiting. The train seemed to be far away, but xianxia had fallen into a deep sleep. He closed his eyes, concealed his spirit and qi and sat down to sleep, warming his spirit. Time passed by. At 2 o'clock in the morning, seeing that most of the passengers were asleep, a thief stood up and skillfully rummaged through his bag. He came to Lu Qing's side, took a pair of tweezers and put them into his pocket. Right at this moment, his wrist suddenly tightened. Someone had grabbed it. He subconsciously wanted to withdraw his hand, but felt that the other's hand was like an iron clamp, firmly clamped and wouldn't loosen. Then he saw a pair of deep and calm eyes. After handing the thief to the police in the station, Lu Qing shook his head with a puzzled expression. Almost as soon as the thief's pair of tweezers reached out, he woke up from his dream and instinctively stretched out his palm. Does this have the taste of absolute reaction? But I've just taken the medicine soup for 2 or 3 days, and my kung fu has just reached the subtleties. How can it be so fast? Is it the combination of the spirit of great success in meditation and the subtleties of kung fu? Lu Qing didn't think too much about it. He planned to test it out when he had time. He continued to sleep to keep himself in good condition. At 4 o'clock in the morning, the long-delayed train finally arrived. More than 30 minutes later, Lu Qing arrived at the Jianghu County Railway Station. It was dark outside and the rainstorm had stopped. The air was thick with moisture. As soon as he stepped out of the station, he saw a line of small black cars surrounded by many drivers. They shouted, "Are you going or not? It's only 200 to the city. Call a few more people and I'll only charge you 100 to the city. You might as well rob me." Lu Qing didn't care about them. He unlocked his phone, turned on the GPS and entered the 4 words Jianghu County. After chatting for a few days, he already knew that xianxia's grandparents were middle school teachers who lived in the family area in the county. After confirming the route, Lu Qing carried his satchel and started running. Yo, is there something wrong with this guy's brain? Is he stupid? He wants to run to the city? The black car drivers were a little stunned. Lu Qing looked at the GPS, corrected the direction and quickened his pace. It's only a dozen kilometers. What's wrong with that? After a few minutes, she came to her senses. She put on the martial arts suit she had prepared and sent a message to Lu Qing. "I'm up, rain or shine." Within 10 seconds she received Lu Qing's reply. "I woke up early." The corners of her mouth lifted and her dimples flashed. Lu Qing's face seemed to appear in her mind. She put down her phone and tidied herself up. After a busy day, she waited for her grandfather, who also needed to get up early to practice Tai Chi. She walked out of the gate and jogged to the family area. At this time the sky was still dark and the street lights were on everywhere. xianxia ran out of the community and suddenly saw a familiar figure, a figure who should have been in xuanhuan. The dim yellow light soaked into his tall and strong body. It dyed his eyebrows, his outline, and the familiar smile at the corner of his mouth with a layer of light. "Qing." xianxia almost whispered to herself. Then she reached out and covered her mouth, afraid that she would disturb her grandfather in front of her. Then she rubbed her eyes until they were red and wet. She couldn't believe that she saw Lu Qing. Why did he suddenly appear here? It was raining so heavily last night. At this time, her grandfather turned around and wondered why his granddaughter stopped at the gate of the community. xianxia turned her head and looked to the side. Hiding her expression, she started running again. When her grandfather wasn't paying attention, she took out her phone and sent a message to Lu Qing. "Why are you here?" With a warm smile, Lu Qing replied to the girl on his phone. "Because I miss you too." Chapter 234. Because I miss you too. xianxia stopped running again. Her eyelashes trembled and her vision blurred. Too many emotions were bursting and blooming in her heart. She couldn't wait to turn around, run under the streetlight, and throw herself into the arms of the person she missed so much. Glancing at her grandpa in front of her, She bit her lip with her white and neat teeth to suppress the throbbing. She typed on the keyboard and sent a message to Lucheng. Idiot, you almost made me cry. Phew. She exhaled and calmed down a little. Then she said, that's right. I'm inviting you to do morning exercises with me. You can't reject me. A smile blossomed on Lucheng's face as he replied briefly, okay. He put his phone in his pocket, carried his sling bag and started jogging. He followed his girlfriend from a distance and turned to the right. He followed her through the shady road and followed her to a place with good greenery. Grandpa, I'm going to continue practicing martial arts over there. Xianxia greeted her grandpa cheerfully. She was unusually happy and looking forward to it. Her grandfather knew that there were many martial arts styles that could not be seen by outsiders when practicing. A few days ago, his granddaughter had also gone to a secluded place nearby. Without suspecting anything, she waved her hand and joined the group of old men practicing Tai Chi she stretched out with her acquaintances. Lucheng saw this and immediately quickened his pace. He followed the slender figure into a small path and turned into a place that looked like a botanical garden. Jianghu County was just a wall away. After running into another fork, Xianxia slowed down and stopped under a fresh tree. She pursed her lips and looked deeply at her boyfriend who was getting closer and closer. Lucheng was about to hug her when he found that she was looking to the side with her hands behind her back. She pouted and said, stand there and don't move. Close your eyes. Just close them. Lucheng couldn't resist Xianxia's coquetry. He smiled and said, okay. He stood there and closed his eyes, listening to the familiar soft footsteps walking towards him. Am I being teased this time? Xianxia stopped for a moment after she got close. Her eyes were like water as she looked at Lucheng's face. He looks a little tired. He probably didn't sleep well last night. His beard was sticking out. He must have not had the time to shave. His hair was a little messy. Humph, he must not have had a chance to shower last night. The girl's heart grew softer and softer. She took half a step forward, wrapped her arms around his waist, and buried her face in his shoulder. She felt the familiar smell, the familiar body temperature, and the familiar heartbeat. She felt the longing and frustration of the past few days melt away little by little. Don't open your eyes. She sensed Lucheng's attempt to open his eyes to return her hug, so she scolded him in a tender voice. All right. Lucheng smiled and closed his eyes, showing that he was looking forward to it. Xianxia's eyes rippled. She raised her hands and put them around Lucheng's neck. Tiptoeing, she kissed the corner of Lucheng's mouth and the stubble on his head. The corners of his eyes, his face, his forehead. In this aspect she was a good student of Lucheng. She kissed him gently one after another. Finally she closed her eyes. With a face full of righteousness, shyness and joy, she kissed Lucheng's lips. She clumsily traced the outline of his lips and timidly stuck out her tongue. Lucheng hugged her tightly and kissed her back passionately. He wished he could be their flesh and blood. After a long time, Xianxia panted and broke away from her boyfriend's embrace. She looked to the side with a drunken look. Her cheeks were red and she pretended to be indifferent. This is my morning kiss for you. Little boy, you need to train well. Yes, Sister Yin, Lucheng answered comfortably. He hung his satchel on the tree branch and got into position. Xianxia tilted her head and asked in confusion, don't you drink the medicine soup? I drank it long ago. I've already finished one round of training. Don't you see that I'm wearing a martial arts suit? Lucheng smiled and pointed at his body. I have to admit that the nearby public toilets are pretty clean. That's right, I'm also stupid. Humph, I must be infected by Cheng. Xianxia glanced at Lucheng. She didn't want to admit that she was too excited to pay attention to details. They didn't waste time on each other, nor did they neglect their training. They each took a side and practiced their own content. From time to time the sound of punches and kicks could be heard. During this process, they would occasionally meet eyes and communicate with each other. It was extremely sweet and beautiful. Time flew and it was 7:30 in the blink of an eye. According to her usual habits, Xianxia should have left at this time to meet up with her grandpa and go home for breakfast. However, she dilly-dallied and didn't want to say goodbye. Cheng, how's the effect of your tempering these past few days? She looked up and asked with a faint smile. Lucheng stopped his posture and hugged the girl into his arms. You're so dirty. You smell like sweat. Dirty Cheng who didn't take a shower. Xianxia punched his chest lightly but didn't struggle. She chose to snuggle up to him quietly. Lucheng chuckled and then replied, the effect is pretty good. After only 2 or 3 days I feel like I'm slowly getting into the details. I was thinking, The seniors who started practicing martial arts at the beginning definitely didn't have the help of the medicinal decoction. How did they do it? The seniors who started practicing martial arts at the beginning must be the kind with overflowing talent. They didn't need the help of medicine soup to get into the details. With their experience, we juniors can get twice the result with half the effort. There's no need to take the wrong path, Xianxia said with a smile. At this moment she actually felt that Lu Cheng's sweat didn't smell bad. Instead she liked it inexplicably. Oh no, I must be sick. My nose is broken. Her face unconsciously flushed, she quickly asked, "What about the comprehension of withdraw? I haven't gained anything yet. I feel like I can't find the direction." Lu Cheng sighed slightly. "The more I practice, the faster and smoother my muscles and fascia become. It's like there were a lot of impurities that were hindering my strength. Now they are being eliminated little by little. But this has nothing to do with the meaning of withdraw." His fake master only gave him the words human body big Dan round and bright. He couldn't understand anything from it. Xianxia pursed her lips and smiled. "Call me Coach Yen. I'll explain it to you. For this matter, I have specifically consulted several relatives. Coach Yen, please do me a favor and give me some guidance. I can't repay your kindness, so I can only devote myself to you." Lu Qing joked in a relaxed manner. "Then I'll have to think about it." Xianxia rolled her eyes at him and thought for a while. "I've asked my brother and other uncles, aunts and sisters. After combining their words, I found a common point. Well, that's will." Will? Lu Qing chewed on these two words. Withdraw is not only the withdrawal of force but also the withdrawal of qi and blood, the withdrawal of momentum and spirit. Maybe you have to find your own path and martial arts will to be able to control all of these. Xianxia guessed seriously. Their words are very different, but they are in line with the records I read in the ancient books. Dan's stage varies from person to person. You can't imitate others. Well, it's probably because everyone is unique and their wills are also different. Lu Qing listened thoughtfully. He thought of something his master said, that he had to walk the path of martial arts mixed with cultivation. That was why his master couldn't give him too detailed guidance. But I don't know anything about cultivation. My path of martial arts, what will my martial arts will be like? It seems that I have to start from the Jindan? Back then, did your cousin find his martial arts will because he was injured? Lu Qing asked casually. There were not many people in the world who could communicate effectively with his brother-in-law, and his girlfriend was one of them. Yes. My cousin said that he relied on martial arts and hard work, so he couldn't really see his own will. When he was injured and couldn't practice martial arts for a long time, he felt empty all of a sudden. Then he slowly found and recognized his own martial arts will. But Qing, you can't learn from him. Everyone is different. Before Xianxia finished her words, she heard her phone ring. She took it out and looked at it. She shrank her neck, pursed her lips and chose to answer the call. "Grandpa, I'm more focused on practicing today. Okay, I'll be back soon." She hung up the phone and looked at Lu Qing. She said reluctantly, "I have to go back for breakfast. What are you going to do next? I've seen you and hugged you, so I have to go home. You won't have a chance to come out even if you stay here. And you should be back in Xiaoshan by tomorrow at the latest, right?" Lu Qing smiled and breathed in Xianxia's scent. His original plan was to ask her to go to her uncle, aunt and other relatives' houses and have a short date with him on the way. But since they had already done morning exercises together, there was no need to trouble her anymore. Xianxia stared at Lu Qing quietly with her dark eyes. After a few seconds she bit her lip and said, "Then wait for me on the other side of the road in the neighborhood." "Why? You want to treat me to your grandpa's breakfast?" Lu Qing guessed. Xianxia pursed her lips and smiled. "Yes. Wait for me." She left Lu Cheng's arms, turned around and jogged out to meet her grandpa. Then they went home. While helping to set the table, she took a deep breath and plucked up her courage. She showed her dimples and smiled sweetly. "Grandpa, Grandma, I'll go back by car later. Songli is looking for me. I want to go back to Xiaoshan with Cheng." "Why are you leaving so suddenly? Is it urgent? Aren't your parents coming to pick you up tonight or tomorrow?" Xianxia's grandma asked in surprise. Yes, I won't wait for them. I'm old enough to go to and from Songqing by myself. What's there to be afraid of? Grandma, Grandpa, you can come to Xiaoshan and stay for a few days." Xianxia showed her talent in acting spoiled and coaxed the two old people into agreeing to her request. "Hurrah!" She cheered quietly and rushed into the room. She quickly took a shower, changed her clothes and packed her luggage. She left the clothes that had not been dried and would come back later. She moved quickly and filled her suitcase. Then she hurried out of the door. "You little girl, You should at least have breakfast before you leave. Her grandma stopped her. Xianxia's eyes flashed a few times and she nodded weakly. Okay. She ate a few mouthfuls without tasting, forced a steamed bun into her mouth and drank a glass of milk. Eat well. Grandma, I'm leaving. She clapped her hands like a primary school student. Then she put on her shoes, dragged her luggage and ran out of the door to the entrance of the neighborhood. I'll call Empress Dowager later. In the clanging sound of the pulley, her long hair fluttered in the wind. She couldn't wait to leave. Lucheng waited patiently under the shade of the opposite tree, looking at the entrance of the neighborhood. Suddenly he saw Xianxia come out with her long hair fluttering in the wind, dragging that familiar suitcase. She looked like a little fairy who came to the human world from heaven. He was a little stunned. What's going on? Xianxia looked around and crossed the road to him. Looking at his stupefied face, she pursed her lips and smiled. Idiot, why are you in a daze? Help me carry my suitcase and call a taxi. You're going back with me? Lucheng woke up and was surprised. He quickly took the suitcase. Xianxia turned her head and looked to the side. She didn't answer directly. She waved her hand and hummed. Let's go. I'll treat you to breakfast. On the minibus from Jianghu to Xiaoshan, the two leaned against each other and didn't talk for a while. They just smiled and looked at each other's interlocked fingers and the rings that were shining again. At this time the minibus started to play music. Flowers bloom in spring, taking away the sadness of winter. Listen to me. Hand in hand, go with me and create a happy life. Yesterday was too late. Tomorrow will be a pity. Will you marry me today?